I'm done. This Heaven Down mystery box is a scam. I've opened over 100 and it's all junk. Not a single high-grade item. Forget rare. Same here. 2 weeks of opening boxes and I pulled one mid-grade. One. What can you do? Rare pulls are pure luck. Zhou City High School, grade 12, class 4. Zhou Hao stared past the podium, eyes fixed on the translucent interface hovering before him. He joined the Heaven Dao software the day before yesterday, and for one glorious hour, thought the invitation made him special. Turns out half the city was in the same boat. The mystery boxes were the platform's headline feature. 10 Heaven Dao coins per box. Inside, anything from coins and roses to cultivation methods, weapons, pills, even special items. Mid-grade drops appeared often enough to tease you along, but they weren't life-changing. High-grade techniques or pills could rewrite a person's fate. Rare items were practically mythical. So far, only one user had ever pulled one. A blood essence enhancer that increased their essence tenfold and launched them straight into the ranks of local elites. Zhou Hao learned the rules and dove in. One high grade, or, heaven willing, a rare, and he could flip his whole life, maybe even become the best in school. Reality hit hard. He burned his savings, then borrowed 10,000 yuan from his classmate Su Ling. His grand haul, a bouquet of roses with no discernible function. I can only rely on my luck points. His gaze dropped to the bottom left of the interface, where a gray tag glowed faintly. Luck points, 10 million unactivated. The counter had appeared the moment he joined the software, but it never lit. After asking around, he learned no one else even had a luck system. It was his alone, mysterious, inert, and useless. At least for now. Over 100 years ago, planet Earth changed. The history teacher intoned, voice gaining momentum. Spatial rifts opened. Civilizations spilled through, demon race, insect race, machine race. They found us and began the long war for our world. The lecture snapped Zhou Hao out of his spiral. He closed the screen and folded his arms on the desk. Anyone who knew this teacher understood what was coming. An hour of national humiliation and hard truths to ignite motivation. The intent was good. The road was steep. Of the 5,000 students at Zhou City High, only 5 had pushed the basic dragon-elephant wisdom technique to the 3rd level of blood essence, and all 5 came from powerful families. Ordinary students like Zhou Hao struggled to even reach level 1. 3 years of training had drained most of the grade of their hopes. The plan for many was simple. Find a steady job, survive the competition, live quietly. Zhou Hao refused. He didn't want to cower inside city walls under a martial artist's protection. He wanted strength, and a mystery box felt like his only shot. When the bell finally rang, he left the room with a heavy step. In the corridor, he reopened the Heaven Dao interface. The luck counter was still gray. If he could just activate it. Right then, a lazy buzz cut through the hallway. Tiny green insects drifted in, lighting on lockers and sleeves. Insect race scouts again. So annoying. Students swatted them on reflex. These flyers were the insect race's lowest rung. Harmless, prolific, perfect for reconnaissance. Every couple of days, they spread like a net through human bases, and every time, people crushed them without hesitation. Zhou Hao slapped one out of the air and smeared it against the wall. He was about to close the interface when, suddenly, the gray luck counter flared to life. A crisp line of text strobed across his vision. Luck point system activated. Initial luck, 10 million, luck burst. Recommendation, open a Heaven Dao mystery box immediately. Absolutely, I will. Zhou Hao's pulse kicked up. He moved to buy a mystery box, then froze. He was out of money. Each box cost 10 Heaven Dao coins. Heaven Dao coins were painfully scarce. From the 10,000 yuan he'd borrowed from Su Ling, he'd already bought a cheese amalgamation pill and converted the remaining 3,000 yuan into just 30 coins. The exchange rate might as well have mocked him. 100 yuan equals 1 coin. Where am I going to find another 1,000? He couldn't ask Su Ling again. He wouldn't ask his parents. They were already working themselves ragged, so he could study and train. That left classmates. He dialed. Old Wei, can you lend me some money? How much? Zheng Wei asked, casual. 1,000. A beat. Ah, how's Z? Something just came up. I'll call you later. Click. Zhou Hao stared at his screen. 1,000 was a lot for students. He tried a few more numbers. Same result. His stomach dipped. If he couldn't borrow, a loan was the only option, and good luck getting one as a student. He scrolled to the last contact, hesitated, then pressed call. How's Z? Everything okay? Came a voice, thin with a cough. Zhou Hao lowered his voice. Zhang, do you have any money you could spare? Silence. Zhou Hao braced for another hang-up. Instead, Zhang asked, Are you in trouble? A little, Zhou Hao lied. How much? 1,000. Another quiet pause. If it's too much, forget it, Zhou Hao rushed to say. I'll figure something else out. Zhang, he knew the math. 1,000 yuan was nearly 2 months of food and cultivation. Zhou Hao regretted making the call the moment it connected. Tell me where you are, Zhang Yi said. I'll bring it. Zhou Hao shut his eyes, flooded with equal parts surprise and shame. I'm still at school. I'm on my way. Half an hour later, Zhang Yi arrived in a worn uniform, looking exhausted. He pulled crumpled notes from his pocket, currency that didn't crease easily unless it had been handled for a long time. Zhou Hao meant to promise repayment on the spot. The words tangled. Thank you. It's nothing, Zhang Yi said with a small smile. We're classmates. Will you be all right after this? Zhang Yi shrugged. There's part-time work at the cafeteria. I'll eat. You need it more. Everyone has their struggles. All Zhou Hao could do was thank him again and again. He took the bus to his rented room. With his parents away, he washed his face, steadied his breathing, and opened the Heaven Dao software. This decides everything. Shop mystery box. He tapped purchase coins. A soft chime. The 1,000 yuan vanished. His balance climbed by 10 coins. He glanced at his now-lit luck points. It all comes down to this. He bought a box. Open mystery box. Yes. 1 million luck points vanished in a blink. The box spun. Clicked open. Ding. Congratulations. Rare tier. Supreme Cultivation Technique Evolution Card. Item sent to backpack. Rare tier. His eyes went wide. His heart skipped. A global announcement flashed across the software. Ding. Congratulations to user for obtaining a rare tier item. Supreme Cultivation Technique Evolution Card. This card evolves a cultivation technique to perfection. The platform erupted. No way. Cheating. A rare tier that evolves techniques? That's insane. I'm not sure if I'm jealous or nauseous. I've opened more than 300 boxes. No rare techniques. No rare weapons. Just roses and pocket change. I'm going to be sick.
Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
Looking at the envious comments of the other users, Zhou Hao finally felt relieved. The 1 million luck points was indeed awesome. Without any hesitation, he hurriedly turned to his personal page and opened his backpack. There was indeed a Supreme Cultivation Technique Evolution card inside with the words, "Do you want to use it?" floating on it. Yes, Zhou Hao thought to himself. Boom! Suddenly, a mysterious and vast energy quickly enveloped Zhou Hao. Large amounts of experience and comprehension regarding the Dragon-Elephant Wisdom Technique surged into Zhou Hao's mind like a tide. At the same time, the blocked meridians in his body seemed to have been cleansed from top to bottom. All of his 108 meridians were opened up and instantly cleared. The blood essence in his body was boiling with the ferocity of dragons and elephants, and they were cleansing his limbs and bones along all the meridians. Zhou Hao could not help but throw a punch. The blood essence in his meridians exploded, and a vast and mighty force surged. His fist was like a sharp blade as it sliced through the air. A series of sonic booms echoed in the room. Even Zhou Hao was stunned. He had expected that the cultivation technique upgraded by the software system would be extraordinary, but he hadn't expected for it to let him cause a sonic boom with a casual punch. After all, a sonic boom was no easy feat. Only a high-level martial artist's all-out attack would have a chance of triggering a phenomenon. How is this possible? Wait, Zhou Hao suddenly recalled something he had once heard from his history teacher. According to the history teacher, the dragon-elephant wisdom technique was a basic cultivation technique that originated from a peak-level human expert. Back then, this expert had created this basic cultivation technique that was suitable for humans to cultivate on the planet Earth. In fact, it contained 36 levels. With this basic cultivation technique, that expert had beaten the high-level experts of the insect race, demon race, and machine race to the point that they could not even lift their heads. However, he was later ambushed by the foreign races and died in the crack. However, his basic cultivation technique survived and was passed down. However, the technique created by that expert was too difficult to cultivate. As time passed, most people could only cultivate to the 9th level, meaning that they opened 9 meridians in their bodies. But Zhou Hao had opened a whopping total of 108 meridians. Does that mean that I've already cultivated the dragon-elephant wisdom technique to the 108th level? Zhou Hao was so excited that he nearly flew into the air. As expected of Heaven Dao software, how awesome! After thinking about it, Zhou Hao still decided to go to the school to test his true strength. This way, he would have an accurate understanding of his strength, lest he made a mistake in his estimation. If Zhou Hao wanted to do something, he would do it without hesitation. He changed into a black hoodie and a school uniform before returning to school. At the school, there was a training hall with a set of testing equipment. When he arrived at the school gate, Zhou Hao looked at the security guard at the gate and hesitated before walking over. Stop right there. After seeing that Zhou Hao was wearing his school uniform, the security guard lowered his guard. It's so late. What are you doing in school? Zhou Hao quickly replied, I'm in year 3. I left something in the classroom. The security guard did not suspect anything, as this kind of thing happened often. He waved his hand and said, hurry up and go get it. Come back quickly. Thank you. Zhou Hao quickly entered the gate and walked along the corridor and past 2 teaching buildings before arriving at the training hall. He was about to enter when a low-pitched shout came from behind. Who is it? Zhou Hao did not expect that there would be someone else here. He quickly replied, I'm a year 3 student. I want to test my abilities. You are not allowed to enter the training hall at night. It will be open tomorrow at 9 a.m. This person was also the school's security guard and was responsible for guarding the training hall. After all, the testing equipment in the museum was very expensive. Mister, will you please make an exception this one time? I'll leave immediately after the test, Zhou Hao said. The security officer shook his head and urged, No, you have to leave this place. If you don't, I will bring you to the security room, and you'll have to wait for your teacher to pick you up tomorrow. Zhou Hao had no choice but to leave. However, when he reached the corner, he turned around to hide. Since he had come to school, he did not want to return empty-handed. On the other hand, the security guard patrolled the area once more and then returned to the front door of the training hall. He swiped at it with his card, opened the door, and went inside. Then the security guard waved his flashlight around the training hall to make sure no one was there before he turned and left. Seeing this scene, Zhou Hao could not help but pat his own head. He was so focused on testing his strength that he almost forgot the method to enter the training hall. Zhou Hao quietly caught up with the security guard who wasn't paying attention and then knocked the guard down by slamming down his hand. The security guard fell to the ground. Zhou Hao was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control his strength well, so he only used a small portion of his strength. Even so, the security guard's neck became swollen. He's not dead, is he? Zhou Hao jumped in fright and quickly squatted down. He touched his finger to check that the guard was still breathing before he relaxed. Then, he took the security guard's card and quickly went to the training hall. Zhou Hao swiped his card and opened the door. After entering, he did not dare to turn on the lights. However, he had extremely powerful eyesight and could see in the dark just as well. There were several sets of testing equipment, and they were mainly divided into blood essence tests and strength tests. He first went to the blood essence testing device and placed his palm on the groove. Then, he circulated his blood essence. Boom! The blood essence circulating in the 108 meridians immediately boiled. As soon as his blood essence was activated, he heard a cracking sound as if something had ruptured. He looked down and was dumbfounded. Which equipment is this? Speechless, he went to the strength measuring device. Due to the situation just now, he didn't dare to use too much strength and lightly hit the device. Boom! The testing tool that could withstand a full-strength strike from a martial artist shattered with a cracking sound. Zhou Hao was stunned. He swore that he was really here to test his strength, not to smash things. Someone is trespassing in our school's training hall. Ring the alarm. A security guard noticed the guard lying on the ground and shouted, "Ring, ring." An ear-piercing alarm sounded. Zhou Hao didn't even think twice before escaping. He was so fast that the security guards did not even see his shadow before they realized that there was no one in the training hall. The news of the trespasser at the training hall soon reached the school leaders. It was late at night, and the principal, the dean, and the higher-ups of the school all rushed to the school. The testing equipment in the training hall was the root of their school. If it was lost, half of the school would be gone. "Quick, check if there is any missing equipment." Principal Zheng shouted anxiously. The security guard, who had checked several times, checked again. Even the dean started checking with him. But after checking, the dean was dumbfounded. Principal Zheng's heart skipped a beat when he saw the dean's reaction. He wondered if they had lost the most important blood essence testing device. He hurried over. Seeing that the blood essence testing device was fine, he finally relaxed. However, when he walked closer and saw the value of the blood essence testing device, he was dumbfounded. 2,000 units. The test indicator needle was placed at the rightmost side. Principal Zheng was so shocked that he could not speak. 2,000 units was the peak strength of a high-level martial artist. The most outstanding student in the school, Su Ling, had only gotten 300 units. "Principal, look at this." The dean pointed at the strength measuring device. Principal Zheng hurried over and stared at the highest value on the testing machine. 13,000 kilograms. Similarly, this was also the limit of a high-level martial artist. However, this didn't mean that the other party was only as strong as a high-level martial artist at his peak. It was just like how people would score 100 points on a test because they could only score 100 points, while others scored 100 points because the highest score on the test was only 100 points. It was obvious that in this situation, the person who had tested his strength on the devices was the latter. Principal Zheng took a deep breath. Could it be that a high-level martial artist secretly came to our school to test his strength? Principal Zheng couldn't bring himself to believe it. Why would a high-level martial artist come to their school to test their strength? If they had wanted to test their strength, surely they would go to the Martial Artist Union or the Underground Alliance's merchant shop to test it accurately. "Captain Wang, did any school teachers come over tonight?" The dean thought of the school teachers and quickly asked. The security captain shook his head and said hesitantly, "The teachers didn't come, but a student who claims to be in year 3 did." "A year 3 student?" Principal Zheng and the dean exclaimed in unison. "Right, a student wearing a school uniform and a black hat," another security guard said. Principal Zheng was excited. To the security room. Soon, a group of school executives rushed to the security room and turned on the surveillance cameras. Indeed, it was a student wearing Chu Cheng High School's uniform. However, due to the angle, they could not see the student's face. Then, they hurriedly checked the surveillance cameras of the training hall. It was still the same black hat student. Principal Zheng and the dean looked at each other and saw the ecstasy on each other's faces. Blood essence value of 2,000 units. Strength value of 13,000 kilograms. No matter which value it was, it represented the limit of a high-level martial artist. Principal Zheng and the dean would not be surprised if a senior martial artist who had been living in the wilderness outside the city reached such a standard. But now, the strength supposedly belonged to a year 3 student. This simply refreshed their understanding. Currently, among all the high schools in the 9 bases in the country, the most outstanding student is the direct descendant of the Chung family, and his strength is that of an intermediate-level martial artist. The dean said word by word. Principal Zhang's face was filled with abnormal excitement. He took a few deep breaths, and his eyes suddenly lit up. A genius, a peerless genius. The dean also nodded heavily. He reached the limit of a high-level martial artist in his 3rd year of high school. He is definitely an unparalleled genius that was born after planet Earth had gone through so many changes for the past 100 years. Most importantly, such a peerless genius belongs to our Chu City High School. Principal Zheng seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. When he heard the dean say, Chu Chang High School, he trembled with excitement. He had been a high school principal for decades, and nothing out of the blue had ever happened. When it was almost time for him to retire, an exceptional genius had suddenly appeared in the school. How could he not be excited? Principal, the most important thing now is to find this peerless genius of our school and think about how to handle this matter. The dean was much calmer than Principal Zheng and said in a low voice. As soon as Principal Zheng heard this, his excitement gradually calmed down. After all, the surveillance camera had not captured the student's face at all. Moreover, the emergence of a peerless genius in the school was a huge matter. They had to think carefully about how to handle this. After some serious consideration, Principal Zheng turned around and looked at the other higher-ups and security guards. He said in a low voice, "No one is allowed to leak what happened tonight. We will announce it after we find the super genius." The other higher-ups and security guards nodded. But everyone knew deep down, how could such a huge matter be kept hidden? The next day, the entire Chu City High School was in an uproar. What? Our Chu City High School has a peerless genius. It can't be. Our Chu City High School has been ranked at the bottom of all high schools in the city for 5 to 6 years. Why would there suddenly be a peerless genius? You don't believe me? Hadn't you noticed that the entry to the training hall had now been barred? Someone even saw the numbers on the blood essence testing machine and strength testing machine with their own eyes. Blood essence value of 2,000 units and strength value of 13,000 kilograms. Simply ridiculous. Zhou Hao had just entered the classroom when he heard these words. He was stunned. What peerless genius? Could it be because of what I did last night? Thinking of this, he quickly went forward to ask for an explanation. Last night, he had accidentally destroyed 2 of the top equipment in the school. When he returned home, he was not at ease and did not even sleep well. Seeing Zhou Hao, the students pursed their lips. You must be ignorant. Something big happened in our school last night. What is it? Zhou Hao asked. A student secretly snuck into the training hall yesterday for strength testing. The test value even reached the limit of a high-level martial artist. Don't you think it's awesome? The more the other person spoke, the more excited he became, as if was the peerless genius himself. Oh, I see. Zhou Hao was now certain that the peerless genius they spoke of was no other than himself. However, he did not want the school to pursue the matter any further. After all, he could not afford to pay for the too expensive testing equipment. Maybe it's fake news. The best student in our school is Su Ling, and she is only at the 3rd level of blood essence. He shook his head. A female student sneered. Zhou Hao, what do you know? Can you imagine the strength of a peerless genius? A few of his classmates chimed in. That's right. A summer insect cannot talk of ice. The world of peerless geniuses is not something you can understand. Zhou Hao, you should at least think about how to get to the 1st level of blood essence. Zhou Hao was speechless. He could not be bothered to continue talking nonsense with these ignorant classmates. He scanned the classroom and frowned when he saw that Zhang Yi was not there. Usually, Zhang Yi was the first to arrive. Where's Zhang Yi? He asked a classmate who was close to Zhang Yi. Oh, Zhang, I think he's working in the cafeteria, the classmate replied. Zhou Hao immediately felt guilty. He had borrowed 1,000 yuan from Zhang Yi yesterday, causing him to have to work in the canteen early in the morning. He hurriedly left the classroom and rushed to the canteen. By the time he arrived, the canteen had been cleaned. Zhou Hao looked around and saw Zhang Yi squatting in a corner. He was eating a steamed bun with pickles. The steamed bun was dirty and was probably left by someone else. Zhang, he called softly as he walked over. Zhang Yi looked up and saw that it was Zhou Hao. He smiled. Why are you here? Zhou Hao could not help but ask. Is that all you eat? I'm used to it. It's nothing. Zhang Yi smiled. Hold on. I'll finish it right away. As he spoke, Zhang Yi wolfed down the food. I'm sorry. It's my fault. I shouldn't have borrowed money from you, Zhou Hao said regretfully. Zhang Yi quickly said, What are you talking about? We're all classmates. It's natural for me to help you when you're in trouble. Seeing that Zhou Hao was about to continue, Zhang Yi changed the topic. By the way, did you hear about the peerless genius that appeared in our school last night? A lot of people are talking about this matter. Even people from our class are talking about it. At this point, he said in a low voice, What happened last night is most likely true. I was arranged by the school to clean the training hall today and saw the values on the 2 devices with my own eyes. That's amazing. If I could reach 1/10 of that, I'd wake up laughing in my dreams. Zhou Hao looked at Zhang Yi's envious face and said firmly, Zhang Yi, believe me, you will achieve it one day. Hopefully, Zhang Yi said casually. Zhang Yi's family was even poorer than Zhou Hao's, and he also had a younger sister who was in junior high school. There were very few resources that were provided to Zhang Yi. A day passed in the blink of an eye. The news of Chu City High School having a peerless genius had already spread throughout the entire city's upper echelons. Many big shots that could only be seen on television even visited Chu City High School. But this had nothing to do with Zhou Hao. He was thinking about how to earn money quickly. Firstly, he wanted to return the money he borrowed and also improve his family's life. Secondly, he wanted to buy more mystery boxes. In the principal's office, after receiving many important people from the city, Principal Zheng and the dean were exhausted. They sat lazily in their office chairs without caring about their image. The dean prepared 2 cups of hot water and placed them on the table. He frowned and said, Principal Zheng, it seems that the leaders from the bureau don't believe that a super genius has appeared in our high school. The city lord's attitude is also unpredictable, and it seems that it will be very difficult to take advantage of this opportunity to apply for some resources. Principal Zheng didn't mind and said, It's understandable that the bureau's leaders and the city lord are cautious. After all, this is a big matter and they can't afford to make any mistakes. Besides, without meeting the genius personally, how would they believe it so easily? I definitely wouldn't. The dean nodded. Indeed, this matter was indeed somewhat ridiculous. Their Chu City High School had been ranked at the bottom of all the high schools in the city for so many years. For them to suddenly claim to have a peerless genius, anyone who heard it would think that their school's leaders were lying. Naturally, their motive for lying would be to get more resources from the city. What should we do now? Asked the dean. Principal Zheng took a sip of hot water and smiled like a fox. It's very simple. We have to find that peerless genius. How? The dean asked subconsciously. There were more than 20 classes and more than 1,000 students in the Year 3 cohort. To find the peerless genius out of all the Year 3 students would be no different from searching for a needle in a haystack. Moreover, based on the surveillance footage from last night, it was obvious that the peerless genius was avoiding the cameras to hide his true identity. That was why the dean was worried. Principal Zheng stood up and walked to the window to look at the students outside. After a long while, he continued, I plan to hold a Year 3 tournament. Any student is at the first level of blood essence and above can sign up and participate. The top 10 winners will be heavily rewarded. The dean shook his head and said, since that person doesn't want to be exposed, he might not sign up to participate. After all, such tests of strength have been held in the past, but that person had never revealed anything. Principal Zheng smiled meaningfully. It will be different this time. The minimum reward for the top 10 winners shall be 100,000 yuan. What? 100,000 yuan? The dean was shocked. In all the previous tournaments, the prize for first place had only been 10,000 yuan. Now, even the 10th place was guaranteed 100,000 yuan. This was definitely a bold move. Yes, 100,000 yuan. Principal Zheng smiled like a cunning fox. As long as that super genius is interested in the reward, he will definitely participate. The dean understood and immediately flattered. Very wise, Principal. Principal Zheng laughed. The minimum reward was 100,000 yuan. He did not believe that the peerless genius would not be tempted. Under the deliberate promotion of the school leaders, the news of the strength tournament soon spread like wildfire throughout every class of the third-year cohort. The 23 classes went wild. Oh my God, the rewards for this tournament are too generous. The first place will be rewarded with 300,000 yuan. The remaining of the top 5 will be rewarded with 200,000 yuan, and the 6th to 10th place will be rewarded with 100,000 yuan. This is simply unprecedented. Is the school crazy? Or did they sell the testing equipment? No, I want to participate too. What if I make it to the top 10? You? Come on, let's just stick to being bystanders. The Year 3 students were no longer in the mood to attend classes. Everyone was talking about the tournament. The minimum reward of 100,000 yuan excited every student. After all, in the city, 100,000 yuan was enough for an ordinary family to live for a year or two. Grade 12 Class 4. Similarly, many students were discussing heatedly. Even an outstanding student like Su Ling joined in the discussion. Su Ling, it looks like you're going to get first place this time. 300,000 yuan. I'm so envious. A fat girl sitting next to Su Ling said enviously. Su Ling quickly shook her head. If the super genius from last night attended, I definitely won't be able to get first place. That's true. The fat girl suddenly understood and thoughtfully said, in that case, the school seems to have specially organized this tournament for that genius. Most likely. Su Ling nodded in agreement. If you can't get the first place, the second place will definitely be yours. It's at least 200,000 yuan, the fat girl said with a smile. I hope I can get second place. The tournament will be fierce this time. Su Ling smiled. 200,000 yuan was enough to tempt even someone with her family background. Zhou Hao listened to the discussion between Su Ling and her tablemate, and his heart stirred. Actually, the moment he heard this news, he had vaguely guessed that the school leaders had specially organized this tournament just for him. The reward for the first place was 300,000 yuan. For someone who desperately needed money, this was definitely a huge sum. Zhou Hao was tempted the moment he heard the sum, but after he calmed down and thought about it, he broke out in a cold sweat. Once he participated, it would not take much effort for him to obtain first place. However, it would also undoubtedly reveal him as the student who sneaked into the training hall last night. At that time, it would definitely attract the attention of the school leaders and even the big shots of the city. Although this would allow him to obtain a lot of cultivation resources, it would also attract the attention of the foreign races. This was the scariest. Regardless of whether it was the demon race, insect race, or machine race, they all had their sources to gain intelligence on the humans of planet Earth. If they found a peerless genius like him, they would eliminate him at all costs. Every time the history teacher gave a lecture about the humiliation the humans on planet Earth had suffered for more than 100 years, Zhou Hao would feel sorry for those dazzling geniuses who had been killed by the foreign races before they could even grow up. Zhou Hao felt like calluses were growing in his ears every time he heard that lecture. However, at this moment, he was extremely glad towards his history teacher. Otherwise, he wouldn't have realized the danger he was in. It seemed that the school leaders had underestimated his ability with this move. I definitely can't sign up to participate, Zhou Hao reminded himself. But this time, the reward for the top 10 were too generous, and he didn't want to waste the opportunity either. After giving it some thought, his eyes suddenly lit up as he thought of a brilliant idea. Ring ring. After school, many students were not in a hurry to leave. Instead, they ran to the academic affairs office to ask about the tournament. Zhou Hao followed Zhang Yi to the cafeteria since there were free leftovers in the canteen. The two sat together and chatted while eating. Zhang Yi, you're at the second level of blood essence. You should be able to participate in this tournament, right? Zhou Hao said as he took a bite of a bun. Zhang Yi nodded and wolfed down a few bites before saying, I am able to participate, but I don't feel like signing up. Zhou Hao asked curiously why. It'll be a waste of time, even if I go. Zhang Yi forced a smile. Everyone at the third level of blood essence will definitely participate since the rewards for this tournament this time are so generous. So even if I go, I can only set my sights on the 6th to 10th place. Although it is true that I am ranked higher than the others who are also at the second level of blood essence, you should also know that I have had blood essence shortage problems for a while now. I could do well on tests, but not on fights. Zhou Hao frowned and asked, "What rank do you think you'll get if you participate?" Zhang, he thought for a moment and said helplessly, "There are only 13 people who outrank me in blood essence in our year, and there are 7 people who are similar to me in terms of blood essence. If I really participate in the battle, I might be ranked around 21. Having understood Zhang Yi, Zhou Hao smiled and said, "Zhang Yi, don't worry and sign up. I have a way to let you enter the top 10. Zhang Yi exclaimed and looked at Zhou Hao in surprise. "Trust me, you don't have to worry about the rest," Zhou Hao said mysteriously. "All right, I'll participate then." Zhang Yi nodded heavily. 2 days passed in a flash. By the third morning, the registration of the heated year 3 strength tournament had been closed. The applicant list was posted on the notice board of the Academic Affairs Office. During the morning exercise period, many students rushed to the notice board. There are more than 400 Year 3 students who have first-level blood essence and above. There are also more than 400 people on this list. It seems that almost everyone is participating. Who wouldn't participate when there are such generous rewards? That's right. You'll be rich if you could just make it to the top 10. Dream on. Do you really think it's that easy to enter the top 10? There was no lack of discussion among the crowded students. Everyone's faces were brimming with excitement. Zhou Hao looked at the dense crowd of people. Even though he had good eyesight, he was still unable to get a good look at the notice board. Therefore, he squeezed through the crowd without exerting too much force and pushed most of the students away. Some students who knew Zhou Hao immediately mocked. "Zhou Hao, why are you trying to get through? You don't even have the qualifications to register. What's the use of looking at the name list?" Zhou Hao ignored them and squeezed into the front row. His eyes quickly swept across the list, while secretly memorizing the names of the students who were speculated to be likely to get into the top 10. Lunch break. On the wide training grounds of the school, many students who had signed up for the tournament were training and working hard. They were busy getting ready as the elimination round would be held in the afternoon. Students with second-level blood essence and even third-level blood essence, like Su Ling, were also working hard. After all, the strength tournament was announced so suddenly. No one was prepared. Zhou Hao swept his eyes around. After confirming the positions of the students who had potential to make the top 10, he lowered his head and walked over. He first approached Wang Ming, who was 3 times stronger than him. When Zhou Hao got close and was only 3 to 4 meters away, he pretended to stumble and crashed into Wang Ming. Wang Ming reacted quickly and dodged Zhou Hao. "Are you blind?" Wang Ming asked coldly when he saw Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao steadied himself and apologized profusely. At the same time, he stepped forward and gently patted Wang Ming's back. "Did I hit you?" Wang Ming scoffed. "You? Get lost. Don't hinder my training." Yes. Zhou Hao quickly left, but he was sneering in his heart. "Keep being arrogant. You won't be able to move in a while." Last night, after testing out his strength in the training hall, Zhou Hao had also specially trained his control of strength. Although it was just a light slap, Zhou Hao had broken several of Wang Ming's tiny meridians. As long as Wang Ming continued to circulate his blood would clot up in his meridians, and eventually his blood essence would be blocked, preventing him from moving. After that, Zhou Hao used different methods to approach the other students who had potential in making the top 10 and did the same thing to them. Of course, these minor injuries were insignificant to students who had been training for years. They would recover in a day or 2. Zhou Hao's goal was to prevent them from participating in the tournament that was to be held in the afternoon. Moreover, he varied the damages and was more unkind towards the ones who he had grudges with. Lu Jian isn't training. Zhou Hao looked around for an extra time and frowned. He had already made plans for Lu Jian. Not only did the latter have a bad reputation, he had even bullied Zhou Hao before. He probably left the school again. Zhou Hao did not intend to let Lu Jian off. He immediately left the school and followed the broad road on the right to a dense residential area. He had heard that Lu Jian often came here for lunch. When he reached a building in the neighborhood, he saw Lu Jian, who was discussing something with a few men and women. Upon closer inspection, it turned out that Lu Jian was using this tournament to secretly start bets in the school. Big Brother Lei, here's a total of 100,000 yuan, Lu Jian said to a young man with a humble look. Why is it only so little? The young man was displeased. There's nothing we can do about it. Chu City is poor to begin with. If not for the sudden appearance of the tournament, we wouldn't even be able to get 100,000 yuan. All right, the usual rules. Give me 60,000 yuan and come here tomorrow to get the meridian opening pill. Zhou Hao's ears twitched. Meridian opening pills were much more expensive than blood amalgamation pills. They were the main pill used for cultivating the dragon elephant wisdom technique. No wonder Lu Jian often came here. It turned out that he had obtained a medicinal pill channel. Without any hesitation, Zhou Hao stomped on the ground and sped away. Who is it? Brother Lei had just reacted when he saw a lightning-like shadow attack. Bang! Bang! Zhou Hao knocked him out easily. Furthermore, Zhou Hao punched Lu Jian an extra 2 more times. Lu Jian would be bedridden for at least half a year. After taking the money from Brother Lei and Lu Jian, Zhou Hao left quickly. He did not feel guilty at all about robbing these people of their money. On the way, Zhou Hao was in a good mood. Back then, he didn't even have 1,000 yuan and needed to borrow from Zhang Yi, but now he had a total of 100,000 yuan. It was simply a huge comeback. 100,000 yuan. How should I use it? Zhou Hao pondered. Suddenly, he stopped in his tracks and slapped his thigh. I'm so stupid. Lu Jian isn't the only one around the school who's starting bets. When he returned to school, the 100,000 yuan that Zhou Hao had stolen was gone. However, Zhou Hao was in a good mood. He was certain that he would be able to earn more once the tournament ended. Just as he reached the school building, he heard intense discussion and argument. As expected, something happened to Wang Ming, Li Ji, and the other contestants who had potential in making the top 10. D*M, what's going on? Out of all the times it could have happened, why did it have to happen now, at the start of the tournament? Who knows? I heard that he sprained his waist from training. 1 sprain is acceptable, but more than 10 sprains together. Only a fool would believe that it was an accident. The news spread very quickly. Not only did all the students know about it, even the school's leaders and teachers heard about it. In the principal's office, the head of the grade, the dean, and many teachers gathered together. Principal, let's cancel the tournament. Many students can barely even move. There's no way they are able to participate in the competition. The top 5 students, including Wang Ming and Li Ji, are all suffering from congestion. It's too much of a coincidence. If we don't investigate this matter thoroughly, the tournament will be meaningless. It's not appropriate to cancel the tournament. I think we should postpone it for a few days. Several teachers spoke up, and the principal's office was filled with noise. Principal Zheng did not say anything. Instead, he looked at the Year 3 director. Department Director Hong, what do you think? Department Director Hong was a retired martial artist. There was a long scar on his face, and it looked exceptionally hideous. When he heard the principal's question, he snorted heavily. A tournament is like a war. All kinds of unexpected situations can happen. Can a war be canceled so easily? How trash must you be to be able to sprain yourself during training? Whether it was an accident or not, he should be considered weak for not having prevented it. It's simply a waste of the school's resources to have such students participate in the competition. Department Director Hong's words made many teachers' expressions change, but no one dared to make a sound. This was a martial artist who had participated in the bloody meat grinder battle. Principal Zheng slammed the table. Good, well said. Teachers, go back immediately and stabilize the students. The strength tournament will continue in half an hour. The Year 3 teachers nodded and left the office. Department Director Hong didn't leave. He narrowed his eyes and stared at Principal Zheng. Old Zheng, be honest with me. Did you send someone to do it? Principal Zheng shook his head. The purpose of the tournament is to find that peerless genius in our school. If I sent people to take action, wouldn't it make the whole thing meaningless? Old Zheng, do you mean that the peerless genius was the one who did it? Department Director Hong was puzzled. The dean at the side laughed. Other than that person, who else could so easily injure more than 10 students who have the potential to make it to the top 10? But I don't understand why he would do that. If he wanted the reward, Couldn't he have just signed up himself? Department Director Hong still did not understand. Principal Zheng explained, this genius from our school probably doesn't want others to know his identity, but he wants to get the reward, so he can only use other methods secretly. Department Director Hong was not stupid. He soon came to a realization. You're saying that he made his friend participate? Aha! Principal Zheng and the dean laughed. What a sly fellow. Department Director Hong also smiled, making the scar on his face look even more hideous. Principal Zheng praised, it's good to be sly. The foreign races are eyeing us covetously, so it's not entirely a good thing for our school to have a peerless genius. My original intention was to find him and send him to a global training base. But since he doesn't want to be exposed, we'll let him be. Department Director Hong immediately snorted and said, Elder Zheng, you did the right thing this time. The global training base seems to be impenetrable on the surface, with so many human experts protecting it. However, over the years, how many young geniuses have been assassinated by the foreign races? The dean hesitated. It's still too risky. Our school doesn't have the ability to protect geniuses, and we don't have many resources. I'm afraid we'll only be a hindrance to the genius in our school. Principal Zheng looked at Department Director Hong. How could Department Director Hong not understand the meaning behind his gaze? He started yelling, Old Zheng, Old Chao, you two are in cahoots with each other, and you're even scheming against me. I knew that nothing good would happen the moment you guys invited me over. Forget it. I haven't contacted the old leader in years anyway. It's rare for a seedling to appear in the school, and I won't let it waste away in my hands. The strength tournament was held as scheduled, which surprised a lot of the students. Many students who had good relationships with Wang Ming, Li Ji, and other injured students began protesting against the injustice. But under the comfort and pressure of the teacher, these voices soon disappeared. 2:30 p.m. All the Year 3 students sat in the audience seats beside the training hall. There were also some of the outstanding students from Year 2 and Year 1. Zhou Hao and Zhang Yi stood at the side. Zhang Yi looked at Zhou Hao and asked suspiciously, Zhou Hao, did you do this? Zhou Hao smiled bitterly. Zhang Yi, I haven't even reached the first level of blood essence. Do you think I am capable of something like this? The suspicion in Zhang Yi's eyes faded a little, but he was still conflicted. But, no buts, Zhou Hao interrupted. Think about your sister. Are you willing to let her end up like you, not having enough food to eat or resources to cultivate? Zhang Yi's expression changed as he clenched his fists tightly. Zhou Hao patted Zhang Yi on the shoulder. This is your chance. Seize it. All the best. Thank you, Zhang Yi said firmly. The elimination round begins. At this moment, the teacher in charge of the tournament shouted, All participants, get ready. The elimination round went by very quickly. Zhang Yi also quickly stood out. After all, he had second-level blood essence. Even though he was lacking in nutrition, his strength was enough to crush his enemies who only had first-level blood essence. Soon, an hour passed, and there were only 20 students left on the training grounds. Other than Su Ling, the rest of them only had second-level blood essence. There were only 3 people with blood essence stronger than Zhang Yi. I have to work hard. Zhang Yi looked at the other students and encouraged himself. This was his best chance. If he could get into the top 5, he would get a prize of 200,000 yuan. The other students also looked around. They were all excited. Out of the people who had potential to make it to the top 10, 4 of the students with third-level blood essence and 8 of the students with second-level blood essence had already been dealt with. It could be said that this was their most likely chance to enter the top 10. The battle for the top 10 will soon begin. Following the referee's order, the 20 students, including Zhang Yi, began to fight according to the name list. Half an hour later, the results of the tournament were out. As expected, Su Ling got first place while Zhang Yi got into the top 5. He happened to be in 5th place. The audience was in an uproar. Most of them were envious. I'm going to faint. I'm fine with the fact that Su Ling got first place, but what about the others? They weren't supposed to be in the top 10. Under usual circumstances, Zhang Yi wouldn't have made it into the top 10, but now he's in 5th place earning a reward of 200,000 yuan. I'm jealous. If I had known, I would have participated too. Zhou Hao was extremely excited when he heard the jealousy around him. He did not expect Zhang Yi to enter the top 5. However, that was not important. What was important was that he remembered that out of his 100,000 yuan, he had bet 20,000 yuan on Zhang Yi getting into the top 5. At that time, he did not think much of it since he was betting with stolen money. Unexpectedly, his bet paid off. Moreover, the rate was 120. This meant that he could get 400,000 yuan. Furthermore, he had bet the remaining 85,000 yuan on Zhang Yi getting into the top 10. As for the rate of that bet, it was 1 to 10. In other words, Zhou Hao had won 1.25 million yuan in total. Over a million yuan. This was definitely a huge sum of money. The villa in the center of Chu City was only sold for 1 million yuan. I've struck it rich this time. Thankfully, I didn't keep the money back then. Zhou Hao was both excited and emotional. During the award ceremony, Zhou Hao could no longer sit still. He slipped out of the school and quickly arrived at a commercial street nearby. I went to a more formal place, so I don't think they'll deny me my money. As he thought this, he turned and entered a luxurious shop. He followed the left corridor of the shop to a large hall. As the tournament ended, many people came to claim their rewards like Zhou Hao, but most of them sighed. It's all because of that bastard who attacked Wang Ming, Li Ji, and the other students who had potential to win. This time, the compensation is terrible. It's all the same. The top 10 of the Chu City High School competition this time is too unexpected. Hearing everyone's discussion, Zhou Hao was laughing inside. He went straight to the counter and took out the seal. The receptionist froze when she saw the seal. Why? Is there a problem? Zhou Hao's eyebrows shot up. The waitress quickly said, "No, sir. It seems you were quite lucky. Please wait for a moment. I'll give you the reward immediately. However, the amount is pretty large, so it'll take some time." Zhou Hao waved his hand. "It's fine." After sitting at the front desk for a while, the waitress came back and handed a crystal card to Zhou Hao. "Sir, this is a crystal card. It shows the quota. You can extract yuan from any city bank." Zhou Hao received the crystal card and immediately felt a faint energy flow. This is something that was even more valuable than yuan. After confirming that there were no problems, Zhou Hao quickly left with the crystal card. After turning several streets and seeing that no one was following him, he finally felt relieved. 1,250,000 in total. I'll save 50,000 for backup and use 1 million to pay for a house. The remaining 200,000 will be handed to mom and dad to keep and use to improve their lives. Zhou Hao quickly made arrangements for his money. He had long wanted to change his living environment, but had no money in the past and could only fantasize about it in his mind. Now that he had money, he naturally had to fulfill his wish first. Because of the tournament, the afternoon classes were canceled. He was in no hurry to return to school anyway. Instead, he went straight to the Yang Garden residence in the center of Chu City and bought a small villa that he liked. Since he paid in full, the workers at the district sales office handled the procedures very efficiently. At around 7 in the evening, the worker handed Zhou Hao the keys and the property deed. I wonder if mom and dad like this surprise. With this thought in mind, Zhou Hao took out his phone and called his parents. At the train station, after hanging up the phone, Wang Shuyun felt a little anxious. Did something happen to little Hao? He didn't say anything on the phone and asked us to go to Yang Garden. That's where the rich live. Zhou Xuegua, on the other hand, had a calm expression. Don't worry. It's probably just a conflict with a classmate. When we get there, we should maintain a humble attitude. It shouldn't be a problem. Wang Shuyun nodded, but there was still worry on her face. We still haven't paid the rent yet. In 2 months, it will be the second semester of little Hao's 3rd year. He will need money to cultivate. Zhou Xuegua consoled. Don't worry, I'll think of a way. It's all my fault. Wang Shuyun was worried. They took the subway and walked for a long time before Wang Shuyun and Zhou Xuegua arrived at the entrance of Yang Garden residence. Seeing Zhou Hao, Wang Shuyun quickly stepped forward and asked with concern, "Little Hao, are you all right?" When Zhou Hao saw his parents, he said excitedly, "Mom, I'm fine. Let's go. I'll bring you to see the new house." New house? Wang Shuyun's face was full of question marks, and Zhou Xuegua was also puzzled. However, the two of them patiently followed Zhou Hao into Yang Garden residence and arrived at a villa. "Xiao Hao, why did you drag me here?" Wang Shuyun couldn't help but ask. "I know you've always wanted to change your living environment. If you wait any longer, I'll definitely let you stay in this house." Zhou Xuegua sighed as he listened. He blamed himself for being useless. Zhou Hao smiled and said, "Mom, there's no need to wait. This house will be ours from now on." The two of them were somewhat dumbfounded. "Let's go in and take a look." Zhou Hao smiled and said, "If it's not suitable, we can exchange it for another one." As he spoke, he took out his keys and opened the door to the villa. Seeing this, Wang Shuyun was stunned. Zhou Xuegua was even more dumbfounded. However, the moment she reacted, Wang Shuyun asked, "Xiao Hao, tell me honestly, where did you get this key?" Zhou Xuegua also raised his voice. "Son, didn't we teach you not to do anything illegal?" Zhou Hao did not know whether to laugh or to cry. He hurriedly took out his property deed. "Mom, Dad, this is really our house. Look, it's written on the property deed." Wang Shuyun and Zhou Xuegua hurriedly went forward. Glancing over, the two of them were stunned again. Little Hao, you bought this villa?" Wang Shuyun's voice trembled. "Son, where did you get the money?" Zhou Xuegua felt dumbfounded. One had to know that this villa cost 1 million yuan. How many years would he have to work to earn 1 million yuan? Wang Shuyun gritted her teeth and said anxiously, "Little Hao, quickly return the house and get the money back. We can't do anything illegal. We'll bring you to confess if you did anything illegal." Zhou Xuegua also thought of the seriousness of the problem. His son was only a year 3 student, so how could he have so much money? He must have done something illegal. Zhou Hao was speechless, but it did make sense. As a year 3 student, he had not even broken through to the first level of blood essence. So how could he get 1 million yuan? Apart from breaking the law, there was no other way. In fact, the source of his money was indeed not legitimate. But no matter what, he had obtained it with his strength. "Mom, I really didn't do anything illegal." After hesitating for a moment, he helplessly told her about the school tournament. At the same time, he also said that despite making money from the bet, his primary goal was to help his classmate. Moreover, he had also taken out the invoice from the betting company. Wang Shuyun did not understand this and passed it to Zhou Xuegua to let him read it. Zhou Xuegua looked at it seriously and took out his phone to check the map and company. After confirming it a few times, he finally heaved a sigh of relief. "Honey, it seems our son is telling the truth." Wang Shuyun's eyes widened in disbelief. "Xuegua, does that mean that Little Hao really made more than 1 million yuan?" Zhou Xuegua nodded heavily, but he quickly thought of something and questioned with a sunken face. "No. Where did you get the money for the bet?" Zhou Hao's heart skipped a beat. He hadn't expected this. His mind raced. Seeing his parents' expressions turn uglier and uglier, he hurriedly said, "I borrowed it from a classmate." "Classmate? Which classmate would lend you so much money?" Zhou Xuegua frowned deeply. Zhou Hao lowered his head and said, "It's Su Ling." "Su Ling? Why would she lend you so much money?" Zhou Xuegua was still suspicious. "Because I helped her once before, and this time, I coincidentally heard that someone was going to attack those people. So I took the gamble." Zhou Hao braced himself and said, "Is that really true?" Zhou Xuegua stared at Zhou Hao. "Old Zhou, stop pulling a long face. We watched our son grow up. How could he possibly do anything illegal?" Wang Shuyun hurriedly said. Zhou Xuegua thought about it and agreed. Although his son's talent was ordinary, his character was still reliable. He pondered for a moment and said in a deep voice, "Son, don't gamble on something like this again." Zhou Hao hurriedly said, "I know, Dad. This is the last time. I definitely won't do it again." Zhou Xuegua's expression improved a little. He was very proud that his son had earned more money than him. However, at the thought of that matter, his eyes still revealed worry. Next, Zhou Hao brought his parents around the villa. Although it was empty, it looked very warm. "Mom, let's go shopping tonight. We'll buy all the necessary furniture and also buy a few sets of clothes and other necessities for you," Zhou Hao said excitedly. Wang Xiyun did not want to disturb her son's excitement and agreed immediately. Therefore, the three of them went to the nearby mall to buy some things. It was not until 11 p.m. that they returned to the poor community where they used to live. As for the furniture they bought, the shops would deliver it to them personally tomorrow. Well, look who it is. Just in time. Hurry up and pay the rent you owe." The fat woman who had been guarding the door yelled out the moment she saw Zhou Hao and his parents. Several families nearby secretly looked over. Zhou Hao threw the 3,000 yuan in front of the fat woman. "This is the rent we owe you. We'll move out tomorrow." Zhou Hao was not fond of this extremely snobbish landlord. With that said, he pulled his mom into the room. Zhou Shuigwa nodded slightly and apologized to the few families nearby. "Thank you for taking care of us all these years. We'll leave the community tomorrow." In the living room, Wang Shuyun sat on the sofa and complained, "Little Hao, even if you have money, you can't waste it like this. You still have to buy things one at a time." "I know, Mom. I'll be careful in the future. Just this once." Zhou Hao massaged Wang Shuyun's shoulders. "Indeed, I received the most love from my own son." Pinched the left side a few more times. After talking for a while, Wang Xiyun let Zhou Hao go back to his room to sleep. He still had to go to school tomorrow. At almost 12 o'clock, Zhou Hao, who had been browsing on his phone, was about to sleep when he heard deliberately lowered voices from his parents' bedroom. "Hi. If I had known that little Hao would make so much money today, I would have advised him to leave behind a large portion. That's our son's money after all. He can't possibly repay our debts. It's all my fault for being careless. The materials in the company are not cheap. Even if we sell the villa, it won't be enough. Also, I heard from my colleagues that there are two especially expensive ones. They're not something we can afford." Zhou Shuigwa sighed repeatedly. "Honey, you're talking about the scarlet blood vine and the rhino horn, right?" "Yes, they're also the main ingredients for the bone-tempering pill." Wang Xiyun's voice was as low as a mosquito's fly. One bone-tempering pill is worth 1 million yuan, so the two main ingredients should be worth at least 500,000 yuan. Most importantly, such materials could only be obtained in the depths of the wilderness. Therefore, it was very difficult to buy it, even if one had the money. Zhou Shuigwa was silent for a moment. "Honey, don't blame yourself. I'll think of a way. The leader came to talk to me today. There's a high chance that I'll be promoted. If I work harder and put in more hours, we should be able to pay it back. Our son gave us more than 100,000 yuan, so that should be enough for the cultivation resources and tuition fees for the next semester." Wang Shuyun sighed in heartache. "That job of yours is too much for your body. You originally planned to change jobs, but now..." "I'm fine. I'll grit my teeth and get through it." "All right, go to sleep." In the room, Zhou Hao listened to these words and suddenly understood. No wonder they couldn't even afford to pay the rent. It turned out that something had happened to his mother at work. Crimson blood vine, rhino horn. As a Year 3 student, other than training normally, most of his lessons were on identifying materials and creatures from the foreign races. Therefore, he knew that these two materials were relatively rare. This incident must have put a lot of pressure on Dad and Mom. Dad's lumbar spine isn't good all year round, and he even coughs from time to time. It's all because of his work environment. Now he still has to persist because of this. Zhou Hao was no longer sleepy. He clenched his fists. Originally, a house purchase should be a happy experience, but he could feel that his parents were forcing a smile throughout the process. Without a doubt, it was the scarlet blood vine and the rhino horn that was making his parents unhappy. That made sense. It was already good enough for an ordinary family to not collapse under such pressure. I have to resolve this matter. I can't let Dad and Mom bear such heavy pressure. Zhou Hao made up his mind. With his current strength and the Heaven Dao software, he believed that he had the ability to resolve it. But at that moment, he suddenly thought of something very important. His luck points had run out. Without luck points, no matter how much money he had, he probably wouldn't get anything good. Then how should he increase his luck points? This was a very serious problem. Thinking of this, Zhou Hao couldn't sleep anymore. He got up and started studying the Heaven Dao software. This luck point system was unique to him. Thus, he could not communicate with others at all and could only slowly figure out himself. However, after trying for a long time, he still could not figure it out. It was almost midnight. Just as he was about to give up, he heard the buzzing of insects again. Without thinking, Zhou Hao slapped the flying insect to death. Ding! A faint sound could be heard, making his heart skip a beat. He opened the virtual screen and saw that his luck points had increased from 0 to 1. I slapped a green flying bug to death, and my luck actually increased by a little. Zhou Hao thought of a possibility, and his heartstrings instantly tightened. As if he had grabbed onto a life-saving straw, he stared fixedly at the other green flying insects. Without hesitation, he attacked at lightning speed. Slap, slap, slap. He directly swatted 3 green flying insects to death. At the same time, he looked at the luck points from the corner of his eyes. Indeed, his luck points had increased by 3 points. It was now 4 points. Upon seeing this, Zhou Hao's face revealed an irrepressible excitement. For the past 2 days, he had been thinking of ways to obtain luck points. He had even tried all kinds of methods, but they were all fruitless. Now, he had finally found it. Seeing the large number of green flying insects pouncing over, the disgust in Zhou Hao's eyes disappeared. These green flying insects were no different from luck points that floated around. Slap, slap, slap. Zhou Hao's palm was like a phantom as he crazily swatted the green flying insects. After swatting the flying insects in a room, he still wasn't satisfied. He secretly got up from the bed and crazily swatted the flying insects in the residential area. At the same time, his luck points was increasing rapidly. 920, 921, 922, 1790, 1791, 1792. After 3 to 4 hours, not only did Zhou Hao kill all the flying insects in the residential area, but he also went outside to kill a large number of flying insects. There were just too many of them. Zhou Hao only stopped when he was so tired that he could not breathe. After scanning his luck points, his eyes widened. Luck points, 9999, prosperous cow luck. It's almost 10,000, but it seems like there are even classifications based on the number of luck points. Zhou Hao was pleasantly surprised, but his eyes were filled with confusion. Slap, slap. Another flying insect flew over. He missed a few times before swatting it to death. At this moment, the luck points changed again. Luck points, 10,000. Overwhelming luck. It changes to overwhelming luck at 10,000 luck points. Zhou Hao was excited again. Although prosperous cow luck was not bad, it did not sound as good as overwhelming luck. I wonder what the next classification will be. Who cares? I'll just keep swatting. Zhou Hao rested for a while before getting busy again. After tossing and turning for most of the night, he only returned home satisfied after having finished swatting all the flying insects nearby. Looking at the mystery box in the Heaven Dao software, his hand itched several times, wanting to do it again. But he held back every time. He decided to accumulate more luck points until opening the next mystery box. The next day, on the way to school, he still did not let go of any green flying insects, swatting them along the way. The other students were also killing the green flying insects. These flying insects were all spies of the insect race and could not be left alone. Otherwise, they might gain valuable insight about the human cities. Zhou Hao felt heartbroken as he watched, but he was unable to stop others from killing the green flying insects. He could only speed up his pace and chase after more green flying insects. Pooh! 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 One green flying insect after another exploded and died. Zhou Hao was like a diligent bee, busy and happy, not letting go of any green flying insects. Is this guy crazy? He's fighting the flying insects so diligently. They're just a bunch of insect race lackeys. Killing them is only good when we want to vent our anger. Yet this guy seems to be treating them as some powerful insect warrior. Let's go. Those that don't have the ability to kill the worms outside the city can only bully the flying insects. Many students passed by Zhou Hao and sneered. Zhou Hao didn't care at all and continued to kill the flying insects crazily. At the same time, the luck points on the virtual screen soared rapidly. It had already reached 12,380, but there were still no changes to the luck level. It was still stuck at overwhelming luck. When Zhou Hao arrived at the classroom, Zhang Yi walked up to him. Immediately, Zhou Hao noticed the dark circles under Zhang Yi's eyes, clearly due to him not sleeping well last night. Anyone would not be able to sleep well after suddenly obtaining 200,000 yuan. Zhou Hao, thank you. He wasn't good with words and did not know how to properly express his gratitude. Zhou Hao smiled. That was the result of your hard work. By the way, here's the 1,000 yuan I borrowed from you. Zhang Yi hurriedly waved his hand and wanted to refuse. Zhou Hao's face darkened. Zhang Yi, if you treat me as a friend, accept it. Zhang Yi was silent for a moment before nodding heavily. All right, I'll take it. The day's lesson quickly ended. Seeing that Su Ling was about to leave the classroom, Zhou Hao stopped her. Su Ling, this is the 10,000 yuan I borrowed from you last time. Su Ling stopped and turned around. Her delicate and fair face was cold. How did you get the money? She asked, her voice still cold. I won it from betting on the tournament, Zhou Hao said casually. Su Ling snorted. I knew it. You don't have any other abilities. Luck won't always be on your side. If you really do care, you should think about how to increase your strength. With that, she turned around and left without looking back. Looking at Su Ling's graceful back, Zhou Hao shook his head lightly. He knew that their relationship could not go back to the past, but the other party's words just now seemed to reveal concern. Perhaps he was thinking too much. Suppressing the distracting thoughts in his mind, he stood up and left the classroom. After leaving the school, he did not directly go to Yang Garden residence. Instead, he controlled his facial muscles to change his appearance and took the subway to leave Chu City. In the center of Huadong City, in front of the tall underground Alliance Mall, fluorescent lights flashed. Zhou Hao, who was on the subway, tightened his clothes and hood. He looked at the constantly flowing crowd and quickly walked in. If he wanted to resolve the pressure his parents were facing, he had to go to the wilderness area. However, the wilderness area was extremely dangerous, and countless human experts had died there. He had yet to figure out his true strength, so it was still unwise for him to rashly go to the wilderness area. To be safe, Zhou Hao thought he could accept some small missions and slowly familiarize himself with his strength. He could also use the time to learn more about the wilderness area. It would not be too late to enter the wilderness area after he understood more. The missions provided in the Underground Alliance Mall were also not difficult and were very suitable for the current Zhou Hao. Most importantly, he could also test if he could gain luck points from killing other foreign races in the wilderness. If it could, then it wouldn't be long before he became rich. After all, that would mean that the wilderness was full of luck points. The mission hall was located on the 5th floor of the mall. Zhou Hao arrived at the 5th floor and was about to enter the hall when two burly men in black suits stretched out their hands to stop him. This is the mission hall of the Underground Alliance Mall, so only martial artists are allowed to enter. Please show your martial artist identification, the man on the left said coldly. Zhou Hao was stunned for a moment before coming to a realization. That made sense. There were no restrictions, nor were there any requirements for identification, but that did not mean that they did not check for strength. After all, even the missions of the lowest level would be carried out outside the city. And outside the city, without the strength of a martial artist, survival alone would be very difficult. However, Zhou Hao did not have a martial artist identification. He had only recently increased his strength and had yet to go to the Martial Artist Union to undergo testing and registration. After thinking for a moment, he suddenly threw a punch into the air. Bang! The air exploded like a bowstring. The two men in black suits immediately widened their eyes. This guy could cause a phenomenon with just a casual punch. He was definitely a high-level martial artist. Can I go in now? Zhou Hao asked calmly. Yes. This way, sir. The two men in black suits immediately said respectfully. They were extremely humble and even bowed. Zhou Hao slowly walked into the hall. The hall was magnificent and spacious. In the middle of the room was a huge electronic screen on which a large number of missions were constantly being refreshed. However, Most of the martial artists gathered at the nearby mission counter. Zhou Hao was not in a hurry. He did not have a clear understanding of his strength yet. It was not appropriate for him to rashly accept a mission. After browsing for a while, he asked the receptionist at the counter. Finally, he decided on a guarding mission. Although the reward for such a mission was not high, the danger was comparatively low, and it was very suitable for Zhou Hao to test out his strength. The guarding mission required 7 martial artists. Perhaps because the reward was low, Zhou Hao waited for a while before the other martial artists gathered. All the good missions have been snatched. I can only accept such a low-level guarding mission. It can't be helped. Us weak martial artists have no organization or faction to support us, so there's no way we'll be able to get the good missions. That's right. After this, I'm prepared to take a risk and strive to be promoted to an intermediate-level martial artist so that I could join a team. A few men and women discussed in low voices. They did not think much of such a low-level guarding mission. Zhou Hao stood at the edge and did not say a word. He knew that these people around him were all martial artists that demanded respect. After all, martial artists could earn tens of thousands of yuan just by casually making a trip to the wilderness area. The reward for this low-level guarding mission was only 10,000 yuan. For them, it was indeed very low. Let's go. The mission location is at the southern station of the city. Let's go there first, a tall, burly man said. The others, including Zhou Hao, nodded. After leaving the Underground Alliance Mall, the other martial artists each got into their own cars, except for Zhou Hao. Little brother, come sit in my car. The tall, burly man patted the passenger seat and grinned. In his eyes, Zhou Hao was a martial artist, given that only martial artists were allowed to enter the mission hall. Although Zhou Hao looked thin and weak, the other party did not have any intention of looking down on him. Zhou Hao did not refuse him for the sake of being polite and sat in the front passenger seat. Boom! The car was a Falcon Series hover car, and it was extremely fast. It was also Zhou Hao's first time sitting in such a luxurious car. Apparently, the price for the car alone exceeded 200,000 yuan. Half an hour later, the group arrived at the southern station of the city. Groups of fully armed soldiers stood upright at the entrance. On both sides were large-caliber divine ambush cannons. These cannons were imitations of the cannons from the machine race and could easily tear apart the demon race and the insect race general-level experts. However, this was only the third line of defense. There were 2 more lines of defense ahead, with more powerful weapons. You are the temporary martial artist team that accepted the guarding mission this time, right? Just as Zhou Hao and the others arrived, a man in glasses walked over. The tall, burly man nodded. The man in glasses swept his eyes over the tall, burly man, Zhou Hao, and the others and frowned slightly. He said, "You guys go and change into standard armor. Go to the weapon room next door. There will be specialized personnel to distribute it to you. There's even standard armor. This guarding mission is probably not simple." The other martial artists were shocked as they walked towards the exclusive weapon room beside the door. Although the standard armor's defense was not strong and could only resist the low-level warriors of the demon race and the insect race, each set of armor was worth more than 500,000 yuan. Low-level martial artists like the tall, burly man also had their own armor, as it was necessary to them. However, unless it was a relatively dangerous mission, they generally wouldn't wear it. This was because repairing armor required a lot of money, and if the armor was completely damaged, they would have to buy another set. Soon, the 7 of them changed into standard armor. This armor could even change its color according to the environment. This was the first time Zhou Hao had worn armor. He realized that not only was the armor not heavy, it was actually very light and convenient. It was as if he was wearing a coat that did not affect his movements at all. This mission is very important. Although you're a temporary martial artist, you still have to take it seriously. For this mission, you'll be protecting the outstanding students selected by the various high schools. Each of them is a third-level blood essence genius. Their potential is extraordinary, and we can't afford to lose them, the man in glasses said with an abnormally serious expression. The tall, burly man and the other martial artists nodded. No wonder everyone was given standard armor. It turned out that their mission was to protect the genius students of the various high schools. 10 minutes later, a bus arrived. The bus door opened, and 8 students and 8 bodyguards got out one after another. Zhou Hao's pupils constricted slightly when he saw these students. Su Ling was among them. However, Zhou Hao's confusion did not last long. Su Ling was a third-level blood essence genius of Chu City High School. Her family background was not unimpressive either. Now that she was about to graduate, she would definitely start training and prepare to break through to become a real martial artist. He also looked at the other unfamiliar students. Zhou Hao suddenly realized that this might be the joint strength test of the various high schools. Zhou Hao was right. However, what Zhou Hao did not know was that the sudden joint strength test was only being carried out because the leaders of the schools had been triggered by the appearance of a peerless genius. Just as Zhou Hao was thinking, the man in glasses walked forward and said to Su Ling and the other 7 genius students, "Your mission is to obtain white wolf horns. The more you obtain, the richer your reward will be. Your bodyguards aren't allowed to help. They're only responsible for your safety. The other temporary martial artist team we assigned is also only responsible for dealing with sudden situations. All of you will have to rely on yourselves." The white wolf was a demon beast with a warrior level. If nothing goes wrong, a third-level blood essence student should be able to kill it. Su Ling and the other students had also made preparations before coming. Their expressions did not change. "Let's go." Click. The heavy iron door slowly opened under the strong spotlight. Zhou Hao and the 6 other martial artists walked in front, with Su Ling, the other students, and the bodyguards following closely behind. After passing through 3 lines of defense, they arrived outside the city. After leaving the city, they noticed that the surroundings suddenly changed. In their sights, thousands of meters tall ancient trees flourished, their branches and leaves covering the sky and sun. Weeds covered the ground, and the leaves were sharp like blades. Under the envelopment of darkness, they seemed abnormally sinister. It was simply impossible for anyone to drive in such an environment. It was even more complicated than a primitive forest. The group could only walk with their feet. Because they were accompanying Su Ling and the other students, the tall burly man and the other martial artists did not travel very fast. It took more than 10 minutes for the whole group to travel thousands of meters. At this location, even the city's lighthouse could no longer be seen. Large numbers of weeds and bushes of various colors covered the surroundings. "Be careful. We're already in the wilderness area," the tall burly man reminded as he prepared to fight at any moment. The other martial artists in the temporary team were the same. The bodyguards behind them had solemn expressions. They naturally knew how dangerous the wilderness area was. Although Zhou Hao had never left the city, his perfected advanced cultivation technique had allowed his blood essence to circulate smoothly. Moreover, his 6 senses had been enhanced 100-fold, and he could even hear noises as far as 1,000 meters away. Therefore, he was not nervous at all. Su Ling and the other genius students also weren't too bothered. "Hey, aren't you guys too nervous? We haven't even gone far." "That's right. According to the information we have, traces of the demon race, the insect race, and other foreign races will only appear when we're 10,000 meters away from the city. On the other hand, we've only walked thousands of meters, so we'll at most encounter some mutated beasts. Most of the mutated beasts have ordinary strength and used to be wild creatures native to planet Earth. There's nothing to fear." A few students in excellent armor said one after another indifferently. They were only at the 3rd level of blood essence, but their armor and equipment far surpassed the standard armor Zhou Hao and the others were wearing. The mutated beasts couldn't even break through the defense of their armor. On the other hand, the delicate Su Ling was extremely nervous. This was the first time she had left the city to participate in such a strength test. However, she also felt that what the other students said was reasonable. This place was only 1,000 meters away, and it was unlikely for them to encounter threatening demons or insects. Moreover, the bodyguards they brought with them this time were all intermediate-level martial artists. Even if there were low-level troops from the demon race and the insect race, the bodyguards could easily deal with them. The tall, burly man smiled. "It's better to be careful." He had accepted many guarding missions in the past, and was already used to the reactions of these geniuses and young masters who had never seen the danger outside the city. The other 5 martial artists from the temporary team acted the same way, not feeling surprised at all. The bodyguards of Su Ling and the other genius students also reminded them to be careful in low voices. What's there to be afraid of? In my opinion, we should speed up our journey and arrive at the mission area as soon as possible, a genius student said impatiently. Boom! Just as he finished speaking, a python more than 10 meters long suddenly rushed out from the weeds. It's a mutated beast, the tall, burly man shouted as a blade was suddenly flung out from his hand. He took a step forward and charged forward. Another armed martial artist from the team fired. The special alloy bullet accurately landed on the python's eye. Pooh! Blood immediately exploded from the python's eyes, and its speed was reduced. The tall, burly man seized the opportunity and gripped the alloy blade tightly. He turned sideways and suddenly slashed at the python's head. Click! The sharp alloy blade cut off the python's head like tofu. Su Ling and the other 8 genius students were shocked by the sudden appearance of the mutated beast, but when they saw that the team of martial artists had easily dealt with the python, their expressions relaxed. Look, what did I tell you? It's just a mutated beast. It's very weak. Yeah, the next time we encounter any mutated beasts, leave it to us. We need to practice anyway. Zhou Hao had long heard the commotion of the python hidden in the bushes. Among the group of people, he was the only one who did not move. I wonder if killing a mutated beast will give me luck points? Looking at the headless python, he wondered if he should try killing one next time. He had already seen the effect of the luck points. The group continued to walk along the target area. After walking for about 7 or 8 kilometers, Zhou Hao's ears suddenly twitched, and he came to a stop. What's wrong? The tall, burly man asked subconsciously. There's movement, Zhou Hao whispered. The tall, burly man and the other martial artists and bodyguards were immediately on high alert. Su Ling and the other genius students were also slightly nervous. After all, the place they were at was already almost 10,000 meters away from the city. However, several minutes passed and nothing happened. Gee, what kind of martial artist are you? You're too nervous. The tall, burly man frowned and was about to speak when his gaze immediately swept over. Be careful. A white figure attacked at lightning speed and threw the student who spoke to the ground. Bang! A silent sniper gun sounded and pierced through the white figure's head. Only then did the group see that it was a huge white wolf. Swoosh! 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 The gunshot was like a stone that caused 1,000 ripples. Almost instantly, white figures pounced over from the surrounding ancient trees and weeds. Start fighting! The tall, burly man shouted. The 6 martial artists, including Zhou Hao, immediately attacked. The bodyguards hesitated. After all, these white wolves were the mission targets. Unless the students were in danger, they were not allowed to intervene. Pooh! Pooh! The number of white wolves increased. What are you all waiting for? The situation has changed. The tall, burly man roared. The appearance of so many white wolves was clearly different from what they had expected. Luck points plus 15. Luck points plus 20. As the bodyguards began to attack, Zhou Hao easily killed the white wolves that pounced at him. The strength of these white wolves was too weak, in his opinion. They were almost no different from the green insects that the insect race sent to gather intelligence. A normal punch was enough to shatter their organs. Therefore, Zhou Hao focused most of his energy on the luck points on the virtual screen. The increasing numbers made him very happy. Roar! As the bodyguard attacked, the large group of white wolves quickly became dispirited. Suddenly, a single wolf's howl exploded in the night. A large number of white wolves quickly retreated, but then white wolves that were as large as tanks appeared. There were white, curved horns on their foreheads. Unlike the white wolves from before, these wolves had 2 lines running down their horns. Not good. Those are intermediate-level demon warriors. The bodyguard's expressions turned unsightly. The white wolf's strength was determined by the number of lines on their curved horn lines. The more lines there were, the stronger it was. This time, the students were only supposed to fight white wolves with no lines on their horns. The white wolves who had attacked them earlier already had a single line on their horns. Now, white wolves with 2 lines on their horns had appeared. Not to mention the students, even their bodyguards would be surrounded and killed if they were careless. More importantly, for the intermediate level demon warriors to be attacking like this, there had to be a white wolf demon general behind them. "Retreat," the tall, burly man shouted. This situation exceeded the scope of the mission. Boom, boom, boom. The huge white wolves began to attack. Su Ling and the other students were already frightened to their cores. All of them were lying on the ground, looking at the tank-sized giant wolves with pale faces. The tall, burly man was speechless. He didn't even have time to curse, and could only shout the bodyguards, "Quickly send a distress signal to the base. We can only last for a minute at most." And that was him being generous. It probably wouldn't even last a minute. If the dozen or so intermediate-level demon warriors besieged them together, the white wolves would definitely be able to tear them apart in 10 seconds. "We lost this time." The tall, burly man and the other martial artist looked at each other and saw the bitterness in each other's eyes. No one expected that a low-level guarding mission would actually put them in a desperate situation. Pooh, pooh. The bodyguards were not weak and were doing their best to resist. However, the frightened Su Ling and the other students had become a burden. They were all lying motionless, forcing the bodyguards to stay beside them. Soon, more than 10 seconds passed. Just as the tall, burly man thought that the white wolves had had enough fun and were about to attack, he suddenly realized that half of the dozens of giant wolves were gone. The other martial artists also discovered this and were stunned. "Look!" a female martial artist exclaimed. The tall, burly man and the other martial artist, as well as the bodyguards and the students, looked at a pile of weeds not far away. Huge wolf corpses were piled up like a small mountain. "It's that young brother. His strength." The tall, burly man's eyes widened. He watched as Zhou Hao casually punched, making the intermediate-level demon warriors, which they had fought so hard to deal with, fall to the ground, twitching and lifeless. 35, 38, 40. Zhou Hao causally punched and killed one tank-sized wolf after another. He was even counting the number of wolves he killed leisurely. These intermediate-level demon warriors did not even have the qualifications to make him use his blood essence. The robust blood essence foundation brought about by the 108 levels of Dragon Elephant Wisdom technique had far surpassed Zhou Hao's expectations. The strength it enhanced was even stronger than the combined strength of dozens of dragon elephants. With a casual punch, Zhou Hao could shatter the body of an intermediate-level demon warrior. An intermediate-level demon warrior can get me 200 luck points, 10 times more that of a low-level demon warrior. Zhou Hao thought to himself as he swept his gaze over the virtual screen. Luck points, 9722, current level, prosperous cow luck. Once again, Zhou Hao was close to reaching 10,000 luck points. Last time at school, he had to spend 3 to 4 hours swatting green insects. But now, he had only spent 5 to 6 minutes killing demon warriors and had already earned almost the same amount. Looks like I'll have to kill high-level demon beasts if I want to earn luck points quickly. Patting his hands, he checked his surroundings. Only after confirming that there were no more giant wolves pouncing towards did he finally turn around to walk towards the tall, burly man. At this moment, the tall, burly man and the other martial artists were dumbfounded. After all, that was an intermediate-level demon warrior. To defeat one, even intermediate-level martial artists had to go all out. High-level martial artists also had to spend some effort to kill it. But what about Zhou Hao? He killed it as if he was killing a chicken. Only a master-level expert can do that. He's definitely a master expert. The martial artists of the temporary team and the bodyguards shouted excitedly. Zhou Hao walked over and saw that the tall, burly martial artist was covered in blood. He could not help but ask, "Are you guys all right?" "I am fine." The tall, burly man hurriedly waved his hand and said gratefully, "Thank you, Master, for your help." Master? Zhou Hao was stunned. The experts above the martial artists were masters. Each of them was an important figure in the city. In the past, Zhou Hao didn't even dare to think about becoming a master. Now, he actually managed to reach such a level. In a way, it made sense. For Zhou Hao to be able to easily kill those intermediate-level demon warriors, he would have needed a master's combat strength. However, Zhou Hao knew very well that he had relied entirely on his deep foundation. His true strength had yet to reach the level of master. Miss Su, quick, get up. Let's thank the master for his help. Young Master Hui, hurry up and get up. If not for the master, we would all be done for. Young Master Jean is lucky to have the protection of a master. You must make the best out of this opportunity. The bodyguards regained their senses and hurriedly pulled up Su Ling and the other students who were lying on the ground. They whispered anxiously into their ears. Su Ling and the other students were dumbfounded. A master? They were actually protected by a master? Young Master Jean was especially frightened, especially since he had earlier said that Zhou Hao was being too nervous. He was so frightened that his entire body trembled, and he wanted to cry, but had no tears to shed. What are you all waiting for? Quick, thank him. The bodyguards urged. Su Ling and the other students finally reacted and stepped forward one by one. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master. Zhou Hao looked at Su Ling and the other genius students and sighed with emotion. A while ago, he was still just an ordinary poor student who had not even reached the first level of blood essence. If he had stood in front of these genius students without his newfound strength, they probably wouldn't even look at him. But now, they were thanking him respectfully. Strength. This is the change brought about by strength. Zhou Hao yearned to become even stronger after this. Boom. Just as Zhou Hao was about to say that there was no need to be polite, a violent sonic boom sounded not far away. In a few seconds, a figure appeared in front of everyone. When the tall, burly man saw this figure, he immediately addressed him, Battalion Commander Chu. The other martial artists also shouted, Battalion Commander Chu. Battalion Commander Chu swept his sharp gaze over everyone. Seeing that the students were fine, he heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, we made it. Battalion Commander Chu? Su Ling and the other students were all from rich families. Naturally, they knew that Battalion Commander Chu was a master-level expert who was in charge of guarding the defensive line at the city's southern station. However, with their statuses, they usually did not have the chance to see such a figure. Even their elders and parents rarely saw someone like Battalion Commander Chu. 2 lines on the horns? Intermediate level. After Battalion Commander Chu relaxed, he finally noticed the giant wolf corpses on the ground. Not bad. Since you're able to kill intermediate-level demon warriors, I can tell that you guys are pretty strong. You didn't slack off just because you became some rich family's bodyguard. He couldn't help but praise the personal bodyguards. The bodyguards were ashamed. Out of all the corpses, they were only responsible for 2 that were currently in front of them. The 8 bodyguards had worked together with the tall, burly man and the other martial artist from the temporary team to kill them. 2 intermediate-level demon warriors probably weren't enough to warrant a distress signal, right? Battalion Commander Chu frowned again. The tall, burly man coughed lightly and pointed at the weed pile not far away. Battalion Commander Chu, there's more over there. Battalion Commander Chu turned to look in the direction the finger pointed at. He was shocked the moment he saw the corpses. Good Lord, there were at least 40 giant wolf corpses. Who killed them? Did a master-level expert pass by? Battalion Commander Chu asked. The tall, burly man hurriedly said, Yes, it was this master here who helped us. Battalion Commander Chu could not help but look at Zhou Hao. You a master? Suspicion surged in his eyes. He was suspicious because Zhou Hao's blood essence did not have a powerful aura, and Zhou Hao's eyes also seemed ordinary. He was completely different from the other masters. What he didn't know was that Zhou Hao's 108 meridians had all been opened, and his blood essence was circulating continuously and smoothly. It was impossible to tell just by looking at Zhou Hao's appearance. Roar! Suddenly, within 1,000 meters, a terrifying aura soared into the sky with a shocking wolf howl. The ground shook incessantly as demon flames surged into the sky. A terrifying pressure swept over from all directions like a surging flood. In the dark sky, 2 blood-colored lights pierced through. Su Ling and the other students were instantly enveloped by the lights. Only then did the tall, burly man and the other martial artist see that the lights were actually coming from two terrifying eyes. And above these eyes was an extremely striking blue horn. The three lines on the horn were even more obvious. Not good. It's the blue horn blood wolf, a high-level demon general. Not only did the expressions of the temporary team's martial artists change drastically, even the bodyguards' faces turned pale. Battalion Commander Chu's eyes were also filled with anxiety. How could this be? How could this be? How could there be a high-level demon general within 10,000 meters of the city? What are those guys from the intelligence department doing? Battalion Commander Chu cursed repeatedly. High-level demon generals were extremely powerful and could easily destroy a small city. Their destructive power was not inferior to a small nuclear bomb. In front of such a beast, even a master-level expert had to flee frantically. Only a grandmaster would be able to remain calm when facing such a demon beast. Battalion Commander Chu wanted to escape, but he knew that he couldn't. If he escaped, then the students and the temporary team that were left behind would definitely die without intact corpses. Quick, take the students and leave. I'll lure the blue horn blood wolf away. Battalion Commander Chu shouted frantically. Bang! As soon as he finished speaking, the blue horn blood wolf's claw slapped over at lightning speed. Battalion Commander Chu was sent flying hundreds of meters away before he could even react. Fortunately, he was wearing general-level armor that weakened the attack. He was only severely injured and had fallen unconscious. The tall, burly man and the others were instantly dumbfounded. They had never expected that Battalion Commander Chu, a master-level expert, would be knocked unconscious by the blue horn blood wolf in a single move. Is this the terrifying strength of a high-level demon general? The martial artists, bodyguards, Su Ling, and the other students were in despair. Even a master-level expert was no match for her. At this moment, no one could save them. They could only wait for death. Woo-woo, I don't want to die. I haven't become a martial artist yet. Several students broke down and cried. Su Ling also cried. She didn't want to die either. The blue horn blood wolf's blood-red eyes gazed mockingly as it approached step by step. No one could remain calm in the face of death. Just as they thought they were going to die in the wilderness, a figure moved. It was Zhou Hao. The blood essence in his entire body was like an abyss. Waves of extremely terrifying blood essence pressure spread out thousands of meters around him like mountains. All of a sudden, the flourishing weeds started dancing crazily. Even the towering ancient trees that were almost 100 meters tall shook violently. Zhou Hao's 108 meridians circulated automatically, and his blood essence surged. He took a step forward and clenched his fist. And then, boom, the air exploded with a deafening bang. The terrifying force was like a comet colliding. It instantly spread across the blue horn blood wolf's body that was hundreds of meters tall. Roar! The blue horn blood wolf's fur and bones, which could even withstand a missile bombardment, shattered like an eggshell under this punch. The roar of pain tore through the sky, but it quickly stopped. Its huge body that was hundreds of meters tall smashed heavily onto the ground, raising a large amount of dust. Zhou Hao retracted his fist and looked at the 100-meter-tall body in front of him in a daze. Dead? Just like that? The high-level demon, general-level blue horn blood wolf was so weak that it even surprised Zhou Hao. He had only used less than 20% of his strength in that punch just now. He originally thought that it would take more effort to finish the blue horn blood wolf, but he never expected to be able to do it with a single punch. Looks like the increase in blood essence brought by the 108th levels of the Dragon Elephant Wisdom Technique is even greater than I imagined. Zhou Hao pondered. A high-level demon general's combat strength could match a grandmaster. For him to kill the blue horn blood wolf with a single punch, his combat strength should have reached the level of a high-level grandmaster, maybe even a peak-level grandmaster. At that moment, Zhou Hao had a clearer understanding of his strength. He was rather excited. One had to know that in a large city like the Huadong city, high-level grandmasters had the highest combat strength. In other words, with his current combat strength, Zhou Hao could already oversee a large city. However, Zhou Hao knew that he had yet to even refine and master his strength. His entire body was at the blood essence level, so he was still in the same realm as a martial artist. The reason why his combat strength was so strong was completely due to the enhancement effect brought about by the 100th level of the Dragon Elephant Wisdom technique. After finding the Scarlet Bloodvine and the Rhino Horn, I also have to quickly obtain a higher level cultivation technique. Since his blood essence had improved so much, Zhou Hao was very excited about how much his combat strength would increase once he reached Grandmaster level. Zhou Hao habitually glanced at the virtual screen. His luck points had increased to 29,722, current level, overwhelming luck. After killing a high-level demon general, his luck points had increased by 10,000 points. Zhou Hao was immediately overjoyed. As expected, killing high-level demon beasts would greatly increase his luck points. My luck points have almost reached 30,000, and yet it still says overwhelming luck. I wonder when I will be able to get to the next level. Although he had only opened the mystery box once, Zhou Hao vaguely guessed that the more luck points one accumulated, the higher the level, and the higher the chances of opening a rare level item. Since I've already come to the wilderness area, I will be able to accumulate more luck points. Zhou Hao pondered secretly. It seemed that killing high-level demon beasts and other high-level foreign race beings was the fastest way to accumulate luck points. In the city, he could only kill some green insects, so his luck point accumulation speed was very slow. You're a Grandmaster level expert? At this moment, a trembling voice interrupted Zhou Hao's thoughts. Zhou Hao turned around and saw the tall, burly man, the temporary team members, the bodyguards, and Su Ling and the other 6 students. They were all standing respectfully at the side, their eyes filled with burning worship. If only a Grandmaster is capable of killing a blue-horned bloodwolf, then I suppose you can consider me as a Grandmaster-level expert, Zhou Hao said indifferently. The tall, burly man, Su Ling, and the others were excited as they hurriedly said, "Thank you, Grandmaster, for saving our lives." The group bent over at a 180-degree angle. Their gratitude and admiration for Zhou Hao had reached a peak. After all, when they were in despair and on the verge of collapse, it was Zhou Hao who had killed the blue-horned bloodwolf and saved them. Cough, cough, quick, run! Suddenly, a weak cough sounded from afar. Everyone looked over and saw the unconscious battalion commander, Chu, gradually waking up. He struggled to stand up and shouted towards Zhou Hao and the others. "Quickly help Battalion Commander Chu up," said Zhou Hao immediately. As the battalion commander of the base's defense line, Battalion Commander Chu had contributed greatly to the well-being of the city. Zhou Hao had a lot of respect for him. The tall, burly man and the other martial artists hurriedly rushed over. "No need, don't worry about me. Cough, cough. What are you all waiting for? Run." Battalion Commander Chu revealed an anxious expression. His armor's defense had been weakened. However, since the blue-horned bloodwolf had not used much strength in its attack, Battalion Commander Chu's injuries were not serious. Battalion Commander Chu, the blue-horned bloodwolf is dead," the tall, burly man said. "Why are you still joking with me at a time like this?" "Nonsense." Battalion Commander Chu was anxious. The tall, burly man was speechless. He pointed at the corpse of the giant wolf that was more than 100 meters in size. "Battalion Commander Chu, I'm really not joking." Battalion Commander Chu followed his finger and turned his head. With one look, his mind went blank. After a long while, Battalion Commander Chu finally reacted. He hurriedly dodged over and carefully approached the blue-horned bloodwolf. He probed it in various ways to confirm that the high-level demon general-level blue-horned bloodwolf was really dead. "Ha ha! The path of the heavens does not end." Battalion Commander Chu laughed and looked at the tall, burly man. Which Grandmaster came to help? To be able to kill the blue-horned bloodwolf, one has to at least have the strength of an intermediate-level Grandmaster. As he spoke, he continued to guess. In the entire Huadong city, probably only President he has the strength and also the time to arrive on time and resolve the matter. After all, he's an intermediate-level Grandmaster who's in charge of a martial artist union branch. As soon as he finished speaking, a rumbling sound suddenly sounded from the horizon, and a figure in yellow armor rushed over crazily with a large amount of airwaves. The figure quickly landed not far from Zhou Hao and the others. Waves of air surged, blowing against Su Ling, the tall, burly man, and the others as they hurriedly stabilized themselves. Battalion Commander Chu, you're still alive? That's great. Where's the blue-horned blood wolf? The person was first delighted when he saw Battalion Commander Chu and the others before he shouted anxiously. Battalion Commander Chu was stunned when he saw who it was. President why is it you? What? Other than me, who else could it be? He Biao glared at Battalion Commander Chu angrily. Among the 7 publicly known Grandmaster-level experts in the entire Huadong city, 6 of them have their own roles. As for Commander Zhao, he has to oversee the entire city and can't move around easily. Therefore, the only one who is able to rush over to help is me. I rushed over as soon as I received the distress signal from the South Station. Damn! Halfway through his sentence, he Biao cursed. His eyes widened as he stared fixedly at the huge wolf corpse not far away. When he arrived, he was so anxious that he did not notice the huge corpse lying on the ground. Seeing that Battalion Commander Chu and the others were fine, only now did he finally size up his surroundings. That was when he saw the huge wolf corpse lying there. Chu! Battalion Commander Chu, did you kill the blue-horned blood wolf? He Biao looked at Battalion Commander Chu in disbelief. Battalion Commander Chu was also dumbfounded. He had originally thought that he had rushed over and killed the blue-horned blood wolf, saving everyone. That was why he was so surprised when he saw he arrive at the scene. Battalion Commander Chu, actually, it was this Grandmaster-level expert who had killed the blue-horned blood wolf. Just as he Biao and Battalion Commander Chu were feeling dumbfounded, a weak voice sounded. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. He Biao and Battalion Commander Chu's gazes first gathered on the talking Su Ling, then swept over and finally focused on Zhou Hao. You a Grandmaster? He Biao's eyes revealed the same suspicion as Battalion Commander Chu's, because Zhou Hao was wearing standard armor and simply looked too unremarkable. After all, any Grandmaster or Master would have at least general-level armor. Even if they wanted to keep a low profile, they would not deliberately wear standard armor. This was because armor was pretty much a second life for human experts. No one would be careless in this aspect. Zhou Hao shrugged. He ignored He Biao and Battalion Commander Chu's suspicions and took a step forward, directly arriving beside the blue-horned blood wolf's corpse. Reaching out, he grabbed the horn and exerted some strength in his arm. The 100-meter-tall, giant wolf corpse turned over like a toy in his hand. Can I borrow a saber? He looked at the tall, burly man. The tall, burly man's mouth fell open, unable to react for a moment. It had to be known that Zhou Hao was dealing with the corpse of a high-level demon general that weighed dozens of tons. It would only barely move when pulled by 10 helicopters flying at full speed. He Biao's pupils constricted. He could tell that Zhou Hao had not used much strength to do what he did just now. And for Zhou Hao to be able to flip the blue-horned blood wolf's corpse so easily, he was undoubtedly a Grandmaster. Anyone below the level of Grandmaster would have been unable to do it. Here, use mine. After having confirmed that Zhou Hao was indeed the Grandmaster who had killed the blue-horned blood wolf, he immediately threw his saber over. This saber of his was completely made of precious metals and king-level demon beast materials. Its weight alone was several hundred kilograms. Zhou Hao grabbed the saber casually. Holding He Biao's saber, he replied, "Thank you." Then he suddenly slashed at the head of the giant wolf corpse, cutting off the blue horn with the special lines. Upon seeing this scene, Battalion Commander Chu recovered from his shock. He quickly stepped forward and said guiltily, "Sir, thank you for saving my life. I shouldn't have doubted your strength earlier." Zhou Hao waved his hand. "It's fine." He then added, "Battalion Commander Chu, the fur, bones, and blood of this blue-horned blood wolf are all top-notch materials. I can't take everything away either. How about this?" Before he could finish speaking, He Biao hurriedly shouted, "Friend, Our martial artists union is willing to buy the materials of this wolf corpse for 7 million yuan. 7 million. After hearing the price, Su Ling and the other 8 genius students were shocked. Even with their family background, 7 million was still a huge sum of money. Zhou Hao was also stunned. They had offered 7 million. It was enough for Zhou Hao to buy 7 villas in Yangyuan residence. Battalion Commander Chu reacted at that moment and immediately shouted, "President He, that's a little inconsiderate of you. The Grand Master has already said that he wants to hand the materials to our Southern Station defense camp." He Biao curled his lips nonchalantly. Battalion Commander Chu, cut the crap. Name your price directly. 6.5 million and the position of Major General. Battalion Commander Chu shouted. Oof, Battalion Commander Chu, you look like a rough guy on the surface, so I didn't realize you were actually so sly. What? You even want to recruit him to your military? As he spoke, He Biao walked up to Zhou Hao enthusiastically. Brother, come to my Huadong Martial Artist Union branch. We will provide you with everything. Cultivation techniques, weapons, pills, anything you want. Sir, you should come to the military. Apart from cultivation techniques, weapons, and pills, we can also provide additional military rank privileges. Battalion Commander Chu shouted impatiently. The tall, burly man, the members of the temporary team, the bodyguards, Su Ling, and the 7 other students were all dumbfounded. They were just competing to buy the materials for the Blood Wolf corpse a moment ago. And now, all of a sudden, Battalion Commander Chu and President He were now competing to rope in this Grandmaster. Zhou Hao was also a little dumbfounded. In fact, after confirming that Zhou Hao was a Grandmaster, President He and Battalion Commander Chu quickly understood that Zhou Hao was definitely a newly advanced Grandmaster. Otherwise, Zhou Hao wouldn't have no armor or weapons on him. However, the rest of them had yet to figure this out. It was precisely because of this that they had first used the material as the catalyst, and then quickly began to try to rope him in. The reason why they were in such a hurry was because they were worried that once the news spread, the various forces in the Huadong city would rush over and compete for him. After all, this was a newly advanced Grandmaster. Such an existence was incomparably significant. If they could rope him in, the already established forces would immediately rise in power and gain more authority. President He, why do you have to compete with our military? Your martial arts union is already very powerful, and you have no lack of grandmasters. Battalion Commander Chu glared. Although he himself was a master, he still had the support of the military and was not afraid to stand up against a grandmaster at all. In usual circumstances, he could give President He more face. But now that a grandmaster was involved, he couldn't care less. He Biao said impolitely, Battalion Commander Chu, who would complain about having too many grandmasters? On the other hand, I think it's best for your military to conserve your manpower. Seeing that President He and Battalion Commander Chu were on the verge of fighting, Zhou Hao did not know whether to laugh or to cry. He hurriedly said, President He, Battalion Commander Chu, the two of you should stop for a moment. Only then did President He and Battalion Commander Chu stop. They both looked at Zhou Hao. Gentlemen, let's discuss the ownership of this Blood Wolf corpse material first. As for joining a faction, I don't have any plans on that yet, Zhou Hao said slowly. Once Zhou Hao joined a faction, his identity would definitely be leaked. By then, the spies from the foreign races will also learn of his identity. This had happened too many times in the past 100 years on planet Earth. Therefore, Zhou Hao was very cautious. Hearing Zhou Hao say this, He Biao and Battalion Commander Chu couldn't help but reveal disappointed expressions. However, they didn't insist. After all, Zhou Hao was a grandmaster, and many experts on planet Earth were unwilling to be restricted and preferred to be alone after becoming grandmasters. In the end, the Blue-Horn Bloodwolf was still bought by He Biao for 7 million. In fact, Zhou Hao knew that President He was doing him a favor. The most valuable thing about the Blue-Horn Bloodwolf was its blue horn. If he cut it off and only sold other materials in the Merchant Alliance, he would at most get around 4 million. Taking out his crystal card, he bumped it with He Biao's crystal card and received the 7 million. While Zhou Hao was feeling excited, he looked at He Biao and returned the saber to him as he said, Thank you, President He. Biao smiled. You're welcome. Come to my martial artist union building when you have the time and give me a chance to be a good host. Definitely. Zhou Hao was in a good mood as he replied. Then he asked, President Battalion Commander Chu, I want to find a scarlet blood vine and the rhino horn. Do you know which area has them? Battalion Commander Chu hurriedly said, Area 178. This is the active location of the single-horned rhino. As for the scarlet blood vine, it's a little troublesome. You'll have to go to Area 192. It grows in a red swamp, and you'll have to search carefully to find it. Zhou Hao immediately opened the screen located on the arm of the standard armor. He keyed in Area 178 and Area 192. Swoosh! The radar screen immediately displayed the route of these two regions. Zhou Hao took a look and saw that it was not too far away. Thank you, Battalion Commander Chu. The mission is also over, so I'll be leaving first since I still have something to do. President I'll visit you in the Martial Artist Union building when I have the time. With that, Zhou Hao placed the shrunken blue horn into the portable backpack of his standard armor. Then, he took a step and his figure suddenly disappeared. The reason why he had accepted the guarding mission this time was primarily to familiarize himself with the wilderness area and secondly, to figure out his strength. Now that he knew that his combat strength had reached the level of a grandmaster, there was no point in continuing the mission. Therefore, Zhou Hao left decisively. This grandmaster is really swift and decisive. Battalion Commander Chu sighed. Then, he looked at the tall, burly man and the other master artists and students and asked curiously, Did you all see this grandmaster kill the blue-horned blood wolf with your own eyes? The tall, burly man and the others nodded. Su Ling said in admiration, That's right. I saw it with my own eyes. A grandmaster is really too powerful. He killed a high-level demon general with a single punch. Battalion Commander Chu smiled and said, A grandmaster is naturally powerful. Wait, what did you say just now? President, he was also stunned for a moment as he stared intently at Su Ling. A single punch? Suddenly, Su Ling was being stared at by a grandmaster and a master. This made her extremely nervous. However, she still gritted her teeth and said, That grandmaster-level expert really only used one punch. Battalion Commander Chu and President, he widened their eyes before asking the burly man and the others. After confirming that Zhou Hao had only used a single punch, a high-level grandmaster, he's definitely a high-level grandmaster. President, he took a deep breath and looked extremely regretful. If I had known, I would have tried harder to recruit him just now. Battalion Commander Chu no longer hesitated and directly sent a message to Commander Zhao. An expert of such a level was worth roping in at all costs. At the same time, the students and bodyguards also secretly sent messages to their families. A high-level grandmaster. This was an existence comparable to Commander Zhao, who was in charge of a large city. In just a few minutes, swoosh, 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 energy waves surged as sonic booms echoed. The public and secret grandmasters in the Huadong city were all gathered together. Just the aura they emitted was incomparably powerful. All the mutated beasts, demon beasts, insects, and other foreign races within a radius of 10,000 meters were so frightened by their collective aura that they did not dare to move. Fortunately, Su Ling and the other students were already escorted away by the bodyguards. The tall, burly man and the others also did not dare to stay any longer. Otherwise, even breathing would be difficult if they stayed here. Boom! An explosion sounded. A 2-meter-tall, middle-aged man in black armor landed from the sky. Commander Zhao. Old Zhao, even you're here? I knew you couldn't sit still either. The grandmasters greeted each other. Commander Zhao was a high-level grandmaster and a war prodigy who ruled over Huadong City. It seems everyone is here. Commander Zhao, who had a calm aura and sharp eyes, swept a glance and smiled. Then I suppose we'll all have to rely on our capabilities now. With that said, he looked at Battalion Commander Chu. Little Chu, where's that person? Facing so many masters, even the usually carefree Battalion Commander Chu was as cautious as a child at this moment. He stammered, Commander, that Grandmaster has left. What? He left. Where did he go? Why didn't he stay? Are you sure he was a grandmaster? Before Commander Zhao could speak, the other grandmasters had already interrupted impatiently. Silence. A deep voice sounded from Commander Zhao's mouth. The powerful grandmasters immediately fell silent. Commander Zhao was not only a high-level grandmaster, but he was also a war prodigy that ruled over the Huadong city. His strength was built on the corpses of countless foreign race experts. There wasn't anyone who didn't submit to him. Little Chu continued. Commander Zhao's voice was calm. Battalion Commander Chu hurriedly told him about Zhou Hao's search for the scarlet blood vine and the rhino horn in the wilderness areas 178 and 192. Commander Zhao nodded and looked at the other grandmasters. Let's go. We have to see for ourselves how strong this new grandmaster is. As he spoke, he took the lead and soared into the sky. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The other grandmasters followed closely behind. He Biao looked at the nervous Battalion Commander Chu and laughed. Battalion Commander Chu, you've never experienced something like this, have you? Battalion Commander Chu patted his chest. Old Chu, I've never seen so many grandmasters in one room. He Biao sighed and said, the grandmasters of the various factions have basically all arrived. If I had known earlier, I would have paid a huge price to invite that person. Forget it. It's too late to say anything now. I have to tag along. Who knows? I might still have a chance. With that said, the ground under his feet exploded, and his body soared into the sky. He looked at the several streams of light in the sky. Battalion Commander Chu was extremely envious. Only by breaking through to the Grandmaster level could one rely on their armor to fly for a short period of time in the air. The wilderness areas 178 and 192 were not very far from Huadong City. However, for a group of grandmasters traveling at full speed, they would arrive after only a short while. Boom, boom, boom. When they arrive at the edge of Area 178, the grandmaster experts, including Commander Zhao, all landed one after another. The powerful aura deterred the surrounding tens of thousands of foreign races. However, at this moment, the group of grandmasters were staring at the huge corpse in front of them in surprise. It's the single-horned rhino tyrant, a high-level demon general whose strength is not inferior to the blue-horned blood wolf. In terms of defense, the single-horned rhino tyrant is even stronger than the blue-horned blood wolf. One by one, the grandmasters circled the single-horned rhino tyrant's corpse twice, the surprise on their faces becoming even more intense. Commander Zhao stood rooted to the ground, but there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. He could tell from the single-horned rhino tyrant's corpse that aside from the stolen horn, the rhino did not suffer any other injuries. Clearly, it had been forcefully killed by an expert with a terrifying strength. To be able to do this expert strength must have reached the high-level grandmaster level. Otherwise, it would be impossible for the other party to kill a high-level demon general with his strength alone, let alone a single-horned rhino tyrant that was not inferior to a demon king in terms of defense. This rhino was killed in less than 10 minutes and died in the same way as the blue-horned blood wolf. It should be the newly advanced grandmaster who killed it. Looks like Battalion Commander Chu wasn't lying to us. The grandmasters were excited. This confirmed the other party's strength. Commander Zhao also smiled. If he could rope in a grandmaster-level expert of the same strength as him, it would undoubtedly be extremely beneficial to the Huadong city. Let's continue. We will speed up and travel to Area 192. Since the other party had already killed the single-horned rhino tyrant, he must have obtained the rhino horn. Thus, the grandmasters won't be able to find him if they stay in this area. Boom, boom. Soon, Commander Zhao and the grandmasters disappeared one after another. In Wilderness Area 192, this was the red swamp forest where the scarlet blood vines grew. Zhou Hao rushed over from Area 178 and entered the swamp forest. As he searched for the scarlet blood vine, he opened the Heaven Dao software and looked at the bottom right corner of the virtual screen. Luck points, 57,200, current level. Overwhelming luck. Should I open a box now? Zhou Hao frowned slightly, feeling hesitant. He had accumulated a lot of luck points now and really wanted to open the mystery box again. After all, the last time he had opened it had brought him a huge change. However, with more than 50,000 luck points, even though the classification was overwhelming luck, it still could not compare to a 1 million luck points. Boom! Suddenly, an iron-toothed alligator more than 10 meters long rushed out of the swamp at lightning speed. It opened its bloody mouth and pounced towards Zhou Hao. Without even looking, Zhou Hao casually punched it to death. Luck points, 60,200, current level. Overwhelming luck. It increased his luck points by 3,000. This iron-toothed alligator strength was about that of a demon general. To accumulate 1 million luck points, I have to kill more than 10 demon kings and nearly 100 high-level demon generals. Zhou Hao remembered that in class, his teacher had said that the higher the level of a demon beast, the more intelligent it would be, and the more sensitive it would be to experts. Moreover, the top experts of the demon race would often sense the powerful demon beasts in their territory. Once the numbers decreased too quickly, it would definitely attract their attention. Thinking of this, he looked at the luck points and gritted his teeth. He opened the merchant shop and went to the mystery box page. This time, he immediately charged 1 million yuan. After exchanging Heaven Dao coins, he got 10,000 Heaven Dao coins, which meant that he could open 1,000 mystery boxes. Zhou Hao did not immediately spend his luck points. Instead, he opened 10 consecutive boxes. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining a rose from the mystery box. Ding! Congratulations, Rose. 10 consecutive boxes had cost him 10,000 yuan, and all he obtained was 12 roses and 10 Heaven Dao coins. So it looks like without luck points, the boxes I open are basically trash. Sighing, he couldn't help but shake his head. All of a sudden, he felt grateful for his luck points. Otherwise, his outcome would be the same as most other users. Glancing at his luck points, he decisively chose to spend it. Swoosh! More than 60,000 luck points were spent directly. Zhou Hao stared at the mystery box, and then opened 10 more consecutive boxes. He wanted to see what he would get for the 10 consecutive boxes with his overwhelming luck classification. 100 Heaven Dao coins, or 10,000 yuan, was instantly subtracted from his account. There was no time for Zhou Hao to feel bad about losing the money. The mystery box spun quickly and then opened with a bang. Zhou Hao stared fixedly. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining a rose from the mystery box. Ding! Congratulations, Rose. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining a rare-level medicinal pill from the mystery box. Top-grade blood explosion pill. Ding! Congratulations on opening the mystery box and obtaining a rare-level weapon, the Black Tortoise set. Right then, congratulations to the user. I am just an ordinary person for opening a rare-level medicinal pill in a mystery box. Congratulations to the user. I am just an ordinary person for opening a rare-level weapon in a mystery box. In the chat hall that had been silent for 2 to 3 days, a large number of users surged in crazily again, all of them worshipping him. Damn, how lucky must you be to get 2 rare-level items in a row? I wonder if he opened 10 consecutive boxes or 100 consecutive boxes. I'm so jealous. F***CK. Could he be hacking? How could he get 2 rare-level items at once? I strongly suspect that even if I open 10 consecutive boxes or 100 consecutive boxes, I still won't even get a fart. Of course, Zhou Hao didn't know that he was being envied again. There were even people who suspected that he was hacking. At this moment, he couldn't help but be excited when he saw the 2 rare-level items. Zhou Hao, who often paid attention to the information regarding the mystery box, knew very well that the probability of drawing a rare-level item was extremely low. Usually, it would take about 10 days for users to draw rare-level items. I got 2 rare-level items with 60,000 luck points. I'm afraid it's not as good as the cultivation technique I got the first time. Zhou Hao was mentally prepared. After all, 60,000 luck points and 1 million luck points were not on the same level. However, he was already very happy that he could get rare-level items. He impatiently went to his personal page and opened his bag. There were 2 items inside. They were the top-grade blood explosion pill and the Black Tortoise set. He first focused on the top-grade blood explosion pill. Immediately, a message was transmitted. After consuming a top-grade blood explosion pill, one's combat strength would instantly increase by a level without any side effects. Zhou Hao's eyes lit up. As expected of a product of the Heaven Dao software, this top-grade blood explosion pill was indeed good and could increase strength by a whole level. This meant that if he consumed it now, his combat strength would directly break through the peak-level Grandmaster and reach the supernatural level. This was a top-notch life-saving trump card. He then returned to look at the Black Tortoise set. The information was quickly transmitted. Black Tortoise set, growth type, includes a helmet, armor, and combat boots. It can reduce 90% of the physical attack effects of any opponent with combat strength equal to the user. It also has a large spatial bag, as well as the ability to conceal one's aura. The set can be stretched at will. Another top-grade item. Zhou Hao's eyes revealed pleasant surprise. The defense power and other effects of his Black Tortoise set were simply far superior to the top armor on planet Earth. Retrieve. Without hesitation, Zhou Hao retrieved the two items. The backpack was instantly empty. As for the top-grade blood explosion pill and the Black Tortoise set, they floated in front of Zhou Hao. He first removed the standard armor and then put on the Black Tortoise set. Boom! The helmet, armor, and combat boots instantly became one. Furthermore, with Zhou Hao's will, they turned into comfortable undergarments. How comfortable! He pulled at the surface of his clothes. It could actually stretch for several meters. Swoosh! At this moment, a red shadow flashed in front of Zhou Hao. Immediately after, his entire body was wrapped by the arm-thick tail of a red spot python. Zhou Hao's expression was calm, without any changes. He had sensed the red spot python long ago. The only reason why he did not move was because he wanted to test the defense effect of the Black Tortoise set. Chi! Chi! The coiling power of the red spot python's tail increased crazily. However, Zhou Hao did not feel any pressure, as if the strength of the tail of the red spot python had been completely weakened by the Black Tortoise set. The red spot python hissed, as if it was angered. Its tail twisted crazily, but Zhou Hao seemed fine. When a red spot python matures, it's usually at the level of a low-level demon general. Even if such a demon beast attacked with its full strength, it would only be able to tickle me. Zhou Hao smiled. The defense power of the Black Tortoise set was indeed very strong. Boom! He casually attacked with a punch. The terrifying blood essence strength directly killed the red spot python. This time, he threw the corpse of the python and the iron-tooth alligator into the large spatial bag attached to the Black Tortoise set. At the same time, he also threw the floating pill into the bag. After doing all of this, Zhou Hao put on the standard armor again and quickly ran towards the depths of the Red Swamp Forest. Boom! Boom! Commander Zhao and the group of Grandmasters landed at the edge of the Red Swamp Forest and looked at the iron-tooth alligator corpses that floated around. The group rushed in. The Red Swamp Forest was a flourishing forest that covered a wide area. One couldn't even see inside from the outside. Roar! After entering the Red Swamp Forest, it only took less than a minute for the Grandmasters to hear a shocked roar sounding from the depths of the swamp forest. Not good. It's a king-level demon beast, an iron-toothed dragon alligator. Commander Zhao's expression changed drastically. The expressions of the other Grandmasters also changed. The iron-toothed dragon alligator is usually asleep. Why would it be alarmed? Is there a need to ask? They must have been alarmed by the aura of so many Grandmasters. Everyone, increase your speed. The iron-toothed dragon alligator is not easy to deal with. That's right. Biao said that this Grandmaster is only wearing standard armor. He would be in extreme danger if he were to face the iron-toothed dragon alligator. The Grandmasters were anxious. Commander Zhao charged forward like a tank. If this new Grandmaster was killed by the iron-toothed dragon alligator because of their delay, they would be the sinners of humanity. Boom! 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 One by one, the Grandmasters advanced at full speed. Eastern area of the Red Swamp Forest. After finding the Crimson Bloodvine, Zhou Hao was about to leave when the surrounding water began to fluctuate violently. Following that, a shocking roar was heard. 3 to 400 meters long, a giant alligator covered in thorns rushed out of the water like a small island. Its cold and indifferent eyes instantly locked onto Zhou Hao's location. In fact, it was already aware of Zhou Hao's presence after the other iron-tooth alligators were attacked. However, because he had only killed some demon generals, the iron-tooth dragon alligator did not care much. But it did not expect that more than 10 human grandmasters would arrive outside the forest. Alarmed by their presence, it woke up immediately. "You want to surround me? I'll eat your human junior first." With this thought in mind, the iron-tooth dragon alligator rushed towards Zhou Hao. The iron-tooth dragon alligator crossed 1,000 meters and arrived in front of Zhou Hao. Its bloody mouth opened wide, forming a gap that was taller than a 3-story building. Zhou Hao stood rooted to the ground. Iron-tooth dragon alligator thought that Zhou Hao must have been scared silly. Lowly ant. Disdain flashed in the iron-tooth dragon alligator's cold eyes. If it was any other time, it wouldn't have bothered eating such a martial artist. Just as its bloody mouth was about to drown Zhou Hao moved. He raised his fist, his blood essence surging. A faint ancient dragon elephant figure appeared behind him. It let out deafening roars. Boom! His fist smashed into the king-level demon beast's bloody mouth. An incomparably terrifying force surged out. It swept out in all directions. The surrounding airwaves formed a mushroom cloud that spread out crazily. Layers of huge ripples vortexes spread out from the water under his feet, sweeping in all directions at an extremely fast speed. Fear instantly appeared in the iron-toothed dragon alligator's cold eyes. It felt like it wasn't devouring a martial artist, but an ancient dragon elephant that was even more terrifying than itself. Bang! However, it was already too late to stop. The iron-toothed dragon alligator felt a terrifying pressure that instantly spread throughout its entire body. Many of its organs and bones were directly turned to dust. What kind of existence have I provoked? As this thought appeared in its mind, it slowly closed its cold eyes. Boom! The 300-meter-long iron-tooth alligator fell heavily. Zhou Hao heaved a sigh of relief when he saw this. He was still rather nervous when facing a king-level demon beast. Thus, he even used 80% of his strength. In the end, the iron-tooth alligator died, just as he expected. I didn't expect even a king-level demon beast to be so weak. Shaking his head, he sighed and put the iron-toothed dragon alligator's corpse into his spatial bag. With the black tortoise set, it was indeed very convenient to collect demon beast materials. 10,000 meters away, waves of powerful airwaves surged towards them. The vortex ripples formed a 3-meter-tall wave, also followed closely behind. The expressions of Commander Zhao and the group of grandmasters changed drastically. What a powerful aura! I wonder how the battle is going. It must have been intense. They looked at each other and took a deep breath before increasing their speed. If it was an open area 10,000 meters away, the masters would arrive in the blink of an eye. However, this was the Red Swamp Forest. The terrain was complicated and the water couldn't be trusted. Therefore, Commander Zhao and the others took nearly 10 seconds to arrive at the source of the battle. Where is he? Where's the iron-toothed dragon alligator? After arriving, they realized that both the iron-toothed dragon alligator and the newly advanced grandmaster were gone, leaving behind only traces of the battlefield. "Everyone, look around," Commander Zhao shouted. The other grandmasters nodded one after another, either diving into the water or following the trail of destruction. All of them searched anxiously, but they still found nothing. At this moment, He Biao activated the armor detector device. Under normal circumstances, grandmasters rarely activated the detector. Usually, they relied on their senses to find the demon beasts. "Commander Zhao, there's no heat signature at all." Seeing Commander Zhao look over, He Biao shook his head. "Commander Zhao, I found the remains of a set of standard armor." A grandmaster picked up the remains of an armor and quickly rushed over. The other grandmasters who had been unable to find anything also returned. Upon seeing the remains of the armor, their expressions turned ugly. Commander Zhao said in a deep voice, "This is only standard armor. Its defense is too low. The attack pressure emitted by the iron-toothed dragon alligator alone is able to tear it apart. It doesn't mean anything. Could they have perished together?" A Grandmaster guessed. "Even so, it's impossible for there to be no corpses." Another Grandmaster shook his head. Commander Zhao swept his gaze over the battlefield traces and suddenly smiled. "If there's no corpses, there's only one possibility." Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The other Grandmasters all looked over. "What possibility?" He Biao couldn't help but ask. "It's very simple. That new Grandmaster killed the iron-toothed dragon alligator and then put its corpse away," Commander Zhao said slowly. As soon as he said this, the Grandmaster's eyes widened. "Impossible. Absolutely impossible. This is too ridiculous. The iron-toothed dragon alligator is a king-level demon beast. Its defense is incomparably powerful. Commander Zhao, even someone as strong as you, is only able to injure it with a full-strength attack." "That's right. We heard the roar and rushed here. The entire process only took about 30 seconds. Commander Zhao, even you can't kill the iron-toothed dragon alligator in such a short period of time, right?" All of them spoke fiercely. They were all Grandmasters and knew very well how difficult it was to deal with a king-level demon beast. If it could be killed so easily, humans would have long taken back the land they had lost. Commander Zhao said indifferently, "A high-level Grandmaster isn't able to do it, but what if he's a peak-level Grandmaster?" Upon hearing this, the dozens of Grandmasters were stunned. Peak-level Grandmaster. They had indeed not thought about it. The reason was that it was extremely difficult to reach the peak of the Grandmaster level. With sufficient resources and endowment, it was possible for Grandmasters to break through and arrive at the high level of the Grandmaster level, but not the peak level. Without great perseverance and great patience, it was simply an impossible feat. Although a high-level Grandmaster only seemed to be a level away from a peak-level Grandmaster, the difference between the two was actually huge. Peak-level Grandmasters had attained perfection in all aspects of their bodies and had broken through the limits of humans. Seeing that no one said a word, Commander Zhao continued. "The blue-horned bloodwolf, the single-horned rhino, and the other demon general corpses we saw before were all killed by this expert's terrifying strength. If not for his extreme confidence in his strength, this expert would not have used his fist as a weapon." At this point, he paused for a moment and smiled. "The iron-toothed dragon alligator's corpse is more than 300 meters long. Only a peak-level Grandmaster would have such spatial equipment." The other Grandmasters had now understood, right? Even the armor worn by a Grandmaster had a very small spatial space that could barely fit a high-level demon general's corpse. If that expert really took away the iron-toothed dragon alligator's corpse, it meant that he had spatial equipment with a larger capacity. Commander Zhao's analysis seems to be spot on. "That's right. I didn't expect this Grandmaster to have reached peak level. It must be some lord who happened to be visiting Huadong City." "That's right. There are very few peak-level Grandmasters. Every single one of them with the potential to reach this level has long been roped in by the various large factions, and they are all recorded on a list." The Grandmasters discussed. At the same time, they sighed. Most peak-level Grandmasters had factions and did not work alone. They would definitely not be able to rope in such an expert. In other words, he had made a wasted trip. "Let's go back." The dozens of Grandmasters shook their heads and returned to the city. Only He Biao stayed behind. After all the Grandmasters left, he walked to Commander Zhao's side and asked, "Commander Zhao, is it possible for a newly advanced master to directly reach peak level?" Commander Zhao was stunned for a moment before glaring at He Biao. "President He, what do you mean?" He Biao hesitated for a moment. "Commander Zhao, I'll be honest with you. I personally met this peak-level Grandmaster before. At that time, although he was wearing standard armor and his helmet and mask were not exposed, I could still feel from him the aura of an ordinary person." Commander Zhao frowned. "It's very normal. The peak-level Grandmaster is perfected in all aspects. His aura can be restrained. I know, but this peak-level Grandmaster used my battle saber to cut the blue horn off the blue-horned bloodwolf's forehead. Even when it came to the single-horned rhino tyrant, he pulled the horn out forcefully. Biao said softly. Commander Zhao's pupils constricted when he heard that. Biao's voice continued. Usually, only newbies deal with materials like this. If this peak-level Grandmaster was from another faction, it would be impossible for him to not have a weapon on him. Similarly, he wouldn't be handling materials in this way. Commander Zhao's breathing quickened and even became hurried. President He, it's impossible for a newly advanced Grandmaster to reach peak level. However, among the experts of the previous generations, there have been some who reached peak level right after breaking through to the Grandmaster level. As soon as he finished speaking, their gazes intertwined, filled with passion. They both knew that even if a peak-level Grandmaster deliberately hid his strength and kept a low profile, his usual habits would still remain mostly the same, especially when it came to handling demon beast materials. It was something that was basically impossible to disguise. Zhou Hao naturally did not know that a group of Grandmasters was searching for him. After killing the iron-toothed dragon alligator, he directly left the Red Swamp Forest. However, he did not return to the defensive line of the southern station. Instead, he turned to the eastern defense line of the east station. Boom! At full speed, Zhou Hao was even faster than the fighter jet. The standard armor on his body had shattered, but the black tortoise set had turned into a set of red armor. In just dozens of minutes, he rushed all the way to the east station's defense line gate. Violent airflow swept up. A terrifying blood essence pressure spread out. However, Zhou Hao still kept it controlled to a certain extent. The fully armed soldiers at the defensive line of the base held their guns vigilantly. When they saw that it was a human figure, their expressions relaxed. Then, they saluted Zhou Hao and said, "Welcome home." Zhou Hao bowed respectfully. "Thank you for your hard work, everyone." With that said, he walked towards the heavy metal door of the base city. The soldiers on both sides looked at Zhou Hao in admiration. To dare to wander alone in the wilderness, his strength had to be at least at the master level. After entering the three main gates of the defensive line and seeing the brightly lit skyscrapers in the distance, Zhou Hao heaved a sigh of relief, and a relaxed smile appeared on his face. Although his combat strength was formidable, he was constantly tense in the wilderness. Only when they reached the city could he completely relax. Time to go home. Thinking of his gains from entering the wilderness this time, he felt very happy. Whether it was the rare level items obtained from opening the mystery box or the materials obtained from killing demon beasts, he had gained a lot. With a light tap of his toes, he disappeared from his original spot like a gust of wind. Not long after, two figures landed at the entrance of the East Station. They were Commander Zhao and He Biao, two Grandmasters. They had circled the southern station, the western station, and the northern station respectively, but they had not received any news of the Grandmaster's return. This is the final stop. If there's still nothing, He Biao sighed, losing confidence in his previous judgment. Commander Zhao ignored He Biao and instead asked the guard, "Did you see a lone martial artist return?" The soldier hurriedly replied, "Yes. About 5 minutes ago, a lone martial artist in red armor entered the city from our station." Commander Zhao and He Biao's eyes lit up. He Biao hurriedly described Zhou Hao's approximate height and size. The soldier nodded repeatedly. "That sounds about right." Commander Zhao and He Biao immediately laughed out loud. "As long as we can confirm that the other party is in the city, it'll be easy to find him." Commander Zhao smiled. He Biao nodded and said, "That's right. Furthermore, that Grandmaster took the corpse of the iron-toothed dragon alligator. He'll have to sell the materials eventually, right?" Commander Zhao was in a good mood. "President He, your martial artist union is good at finding information. If there's any news, remember to inform me." "Definitely." Yang Garden Residence, Suite 21. When Zhou Hao returned, it was already 8:30 p.m. Usually, at this time, his parents would have already taken the subway back. On a special day like today, it was likely they had already returned to move into their new residence. But when Zhou Hao entered his new home, he noticed that the living room and bedroom were all empty. After taking a bath and changing into a clean set of clothes, he took out the scarlet blood vine and the rhino horn and placed them by the bed in the bedroom. His parents had not returned. They must have been working overtime. After all, they couldn't get off work early when they were under such pressure. I'll sell some materials and then convince my parents to quit. They've struggled for half their lives. It's about time for them to enjoy themselves. The reason why Zhou Hao worked hard and entered the wilderness area was mainly to reduce the pressure on his parents. He browsed on his phone for a while and only heard sounds outside at 10 p.m. Soon, Zhou Xiuegua and Wang Shuyun dragged their tired bodies to the living room. "Dad, Mom, you're back so late." Zhou Hao walked out of the bedroom. Zhou Xiuegua threw his coat on the sofa and smiled. "The company has added quite a few orders recently. We had to work overtime." Wang Shuyun said, "Honey, I'll go take a shower first. You can shower later." Zhou Xiuegua nodded and said, "All right, I'll watch television." Seeing this, Zhou Hao took advantage of his mother's absence and pulled Zhou Xiuegua to the bedroom. "Son, what's the matter? Can't we talk in the living room?" Zhou Xiuegua asked curiously. However, Zhou Hao said, "Dad, I know what's going on." Zhou Xiuegua did not react for a moment. "What do you mean you know? About your work?" Zhou Hao whispered. Zhou Xiuegua's expression changed, and he sighed. "Zhou Hao, don't blame your mother for this. Don't worry, I'll resolve it well. You can focus on studying and training in school." Zhou Hao did not reply. Instead, he turned around and took the scarlet blood vine and the rhino horn from beside the bed.